Hey, how's it going, universe? Welcome to another episode of Zoobox, a podcast about nonsense. What you're about to hear.
Wow.
I know, I totally brain farted.
This fucking.
You know why I brain farted? Because I had earlier today thought I was going to do it in the voice of Alex Jones and talk about a historic broadcast, and then I realized that I had forgot to do it in the middle of saying it.
Just do it again. Just do it again. Don't even cut it. Just do it again. Just reset. Let's just get that refocus.
Ladies and gentlemen of America, patriots, warriors, welcome to another historic broadcast. That's right, this is Zoobox, a podcast about nonsense. And goddamn, I gotta tell you, I didn't even want to do the show today. It's getting so bad out there. Nothing to do with the listeners. And also the crew. I love the crew. Not their fault. I come in hot. Guys, could you bring up that segment? I gotta take a break. Can you bring it up and play it for the next 4 minutes?
The best part is when he's just sitting there and he's like, I got all these papers. There's always just massive amounts of like articles and stuff. He's I got all this stuff.
Stacks of paper,
and he never goes through like any of it.
There's entire forests sitting on his desk.
God fucking damn it! You don't want to fuck with me, big man.
No, he's a pro, dude. You just don't see him. You don't see him doing it, but he's a pro because he's always rearranging them. Mm-hmm. So it's whatever he's talking about at the moment, he has actually put in front of him. You can see it sometimes. Very subtle.
I know.
He's a pro.
Or does he just read them before and then kind of have them for like...
Mike, he doesn't read anything. He just puts his hand on it and he knows it.
Yeah. No, you ever seen that meme of the Asian kid?
Yeah.
He just scoops it into his brain like ice cream, dude. It's the reverse. He's just putting it on. What a I've actually, like thinking since we're about to get into the first thing we're going to talk about, we got to talk about, the new satellite radio, pirate satellite radio, War Room Pandemic with Steve Bannon.
Oh,
I forget, I was after watching, I guess we'll just say it, but hey, we talked a little about Q, Into the Storm, the HBO documentary, and
we're going to talk about Q, Into the Storm, the HBO doc, and whatever else.
You do a spoiler? We're going to do a spoiler.
Yeah,
we got to do a spoiler, Dan.
Yeah, we have to.
If we're going to talk about it, we're going to talk about what's in it. Yes, Michael, I understand. I just want to set context, let people understand that there's spoilers coming up for the Q Into the Storm documentary on HBO Max. It's available. I don't really know much about the guy that made it. He's a journalist, right? The guy that filmed it, like majority.
I don't know. Q Into the Storm. Let's look. I feel like I've seen him before. I looked it up when I was watching it, and I don't remember.
Yeah, he's pretty... Mike, stop touching your damn mic. What are you doing? Get out of there. You leave that alone.
Oh my God, Mike, put your penis away. They're taking his penis out,
again, you put the gain way too high. It was like crazy.
Well, I think that might be for you because nothing's changed on our end.
Oh,
but
well, that's why I needed to readjust it.
Okay, big dog. All right, man. I hear you. But Q Into the Storm. Okay. Let's just go. Mike, you liked it, right? Like, what was your...
It's just barreling right in here, huh?
Well, I'll say this. Like, I didn't know, like, H10. I didn't know about QAnon. Like, I didn't know that Q was, like, a person. I didn't know that it was, like, leaking, like, supposedly top level.
Hold on a second. Q's a person? What do you know? Are you Q?
Q? Rick? Are you Rick? Are you fucking Rick? But what was your like general impressions though? If you're gonna rate it out of 5 stars, what do you?
I would give it like a 7.5 because I didn't know anything. Like it was really interesting to learn about this whole culture that like I knew about like Trump people, but I didn't really. When people would say like QAnon, I didn't really know what they were talking about. Yeah. So this was like a whole insight for me of like, oh wow, there's like these people out there that believe in all. Like I didn't really know what it was until this documentary came out.
Right. Sean.
So basically, what would I give it? I would give it out of 10 stars. I would give it like a
Richard Jewell.
5 or a 6.
Yeah, I would say I'm about the same boat.
I might be a little bit biased in the sense that I did know this story. I remember it unfolding. I remember all the events. I am more aware of those people than most people that would watch this documentary because there's a lot of editing. There's a lot of selective stuff trying to make them into more of characters than they really kind of are. But yeah. But so the premise of the documentary is this guy, Cullen Hoback, he basically started legit at the time all this stuff was happening, making a QAnon doc to try to figure out who QAnon was. Well, it was kind of interesting because I didn't know really what it was when I watched it. I didn't know what the angle was or whatever because all of the marketing surrounded January 6th. So I thought it was going to be way heavier, like leaning into that, where it really doesn't get into that stuff until the last like 2 episodes.
I would say even really mainly the last episode. I mean, I could be misremembering. I just remember that's where they showed most of the footage.
Well, it's all to set up the last time. Everything that happens before it is supposed to foreshadow that.
I agree with the 5, with like giving it 5 out of 10 or 2.5 stars or something like that, and mainly due to the fact because the first 3 episodes, I think it's 6.
There is, yeah.
Yeah, it's 6. You can tell where this is all about discovery. This is all about trying to figure out who Q is. It's more of like a detective story, which is really interesting. And then I feel after the middle point, at least episode 4, maybe not so much, but 4, 5 and 6 were definitely changing the direction away from the detective type of story, this investigation, to more of a propaganda piece. Like especially at the end there. That's like at least what I felt.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, it's not to say that those people were not there, were not represented at that rally. They definitely were, but I think the influence or what they were trying to apply that, like basically the people breaking into the building on January 6th, he was trying to say that they were like Q people, which I don't think is true.
Well,
really. I mean, some of the people in there definitely were. They were involved.
The guy with the horns,
yes,
or whatever.
Most famously, the Q shaman or whatever, right? And he makes a couple appearances because as it leads up to that community gets kind of they try to take them off the internet, basically get them removed from the internet, so they have to consolidate. So they start having conventions and actually becoming more. I don't know what's the right word.
A physical manifestation versus just on the internet.
Yeah, they actually start meeting each other and stuff.
The horror! The horror!
But so, Mike, what did you think was like the most fascinating thing for you? It's like your big takeaway.
Yeah, my big takeaway is this. You know the guy in the wheelchair, the handicap?
Frederick?
Yeah, Frederick.
Yeah.
That guy's a bastard.
Yeah. Yes.
And in the documentary, they made you they were like trying to make me feel bad for him, but like the people that were running H-On, they settled their thing. They said, hey, we're going to change the name. And he agreed. He's like, okay, I'll leave you alone. And then he went on there and he doxed the guy's wife and he starts, putting everything on Twitter. And then they go after him because the Philippines, they have some weird law about that, whatever he was doing on Twitter, doxing. And
they have a libel laws. They're much.
Yeah.
He was talking crap, basically.
Yeah. But they try to make you feel like he is.
I mean,
like poor him. But that guy is a bastard. That guy's just a bastard.
I do think he kind of comes around in a sense where he does say, I believe in a moment, there's a discussion. He's like, I've ruined my entire life because of, and I think there's a recognition there. He lost everything because of hubris, because of ego, because of, this Frederick. Because Frederick seemed like he had a pretty good deal going on in the Philippines. Like, he didn't seem like he had a wife.
Yeah.
It didn't seem like he was doing bad. It seemed like he had a somewhat of a comfortable life. I mean, how much was that propped up by Ron or Rick? What is his name? Ron Watkins?
Jim Watkins.
Is it Jim? Are you positive?
There's Jim and Ron.
Ron's the kid.
Ron is the younger guy. I think my age. And then there's Jim, who's his dad.
And, that's stuff right there. But, I mean, he couldn't let it go. And he did do it for fame. He kind of talks about that. I don't feel bad for him in any sense of the word.
Yeah, but they try to make you feel bad for him. Like, oh, he lost everything. He had to leave his wife. And it was like all his fault. It's like he fucking went back on his word.
There was a
he
time.
was the one.
I mean, this is the thing that the documentary is not really great about. It's about some of the nuance of what was happening. And while I broadly agree, I think Frederick Brennan just kind of, this is his thing now. Now this is his way to be famous, is to be the anti-8chan guy.
That's the anti-8chan creator.
That's what it became. That's what it became. But when it first started, it was just because he was under massive amounts of pressure. He was like 19, 20 years old. He was on national media. Everybody's asking him, why is he letting mass shooters on his site? And he's getting inundated. And this went on for like a year.
Well, he wasn't even a part. I don't even think he.
No, he was. He is the creator of 8chan.
Yeah, but he
owned
sold it.
Or he owned the domain, but he didn't sell it until after the first incidents. So when the timeline is, like in the documentary, it's a little fuzzy. But there was a mass shooter, and there was the Nazi board, what they kind of broadly call it in the documentary. It's like a bunch of little different boards and the keyboard and stuff. That
the white supremacist board.
He got a lot of pressure from the outside. Like they were writing hit pieces about him and trying to get him, like basically get him arrested for hosting child porn, like all sorts of stuff. And because he started out with the place the same way that like Jim and Ron are, where they're like free speech absolutists, and that's where he was trying to come from. And then they started trying to like get him in some serious trouble for things like, I mean, the most insidious thing about the documentary, just as a little side tangent, is that it's basically pro-repealing Section 230. It's like that, and it's very sly about how it does that, because it just presents it as this thing that could stop something like 8chan from existing. That's how it's presented.
Mm-hmm.
And it tries to get you on
the other side of it. It
tries
does bring up the other side.
It does, but it tries. I thought, at least in my viewing, I felt like it was leaning towards like, yeah, we shouldn't have unfettered free speech on the internet. That's kind of what I thought was kind of part of it. I mean, maybe that's just me reading into it because of my bias or whatever.
I wouldn't say that you're wrong. I think there's definitely that sentiment, but it does show you the duality of like, it doesn't like. When you take something like a QAnon, this Q, right? I think the bigger, broader picture is there was a lot of people unhappy with things from the media and the establishment and whatever this was, whoever it is. I think we kind of know by the end, which we'll get to probably soon, but it's just disappointing to sit there and say that freedom is dangerous. And like that is something that needs to be quelled or controlled, whether it's freedom of speech, whether it's, like the CDC stepped out today. And the director, Walensky, said the top 3, or maybe it's not, maybe I don't want to say it out of context, so I could be wrong, but she did say the gun issue in the United States is like a public health crisis. So, this is the type of stuff. Are we even going to be able to be pro Second Amendment? Are we going to be able to say that we should be able to own guns?
Well, no, that's the whole thing. That's
platforms?
why, like, the tech companies and things like that are concerning, is because they continuously shift the Overton window over to less intense things. So if you start with like Alex Jones, well, the next people are like Tucker Carlson or Steven Crowder or something like that. Somebody that more like kind of, I don't know, like. That aren't as crazy as Alex Jones. Then you get rid of those people, and now it's shifted over again. Yeah. So it's even more milquetoast people until you just get like everybody that doesn't agree with the people that run those companies. But
which will probably create other things. Like Rumble is kind of becoming one of the more prominent figures in this space. Odyssey for video hosting and platforming. I think there's a huge sentiment, this huge push. It's coming. There is going to be some major investors stepping in soon to places like Rumble. They can't ignore it anymore, I think.
Well, they had enough high-profile people sign up for it, like to be exclusive video content creators there, that now they actually have like a selling point, I guess. But before I'm sure we'll talk about that stuff as we go on. But so I kind of understand the early goings of old Hot Wheels, Frederick Brennan. I get why he would want to step away from it and just be like, I just don't want to have my name on it anymore. Because it's just, I mean, just like you saw Ron and Jim for the rest of the documentary, just constantly. It wasn't just Frederick. Frederick actually didn't even have that much sway in anything that really happened to them.
No.
But it just constantly inundated, just constantly attacked. Actually, the worst thing Frederick Brennan did was when he got them pulled off of Cloudflare. Got their servers taken down and
because
delisted.
he was trying to be like a dink to them.
Yes, it was totally petty, personal shit.
And it was just like,
I mean, he describes it several times in the documentary as a game. He's like, no, we're just playing a new game now. This is a new game. Now it's just a different part of the game. It became his identity. It became his entire, and he's a little crippled dude. Like he's just hanging out and he's by a computer all day. That's all he does, 24/7.
With his, obviously bought and paid for Filipino wife.
Was it a wife or just a caretaker?
No, he was a wife. He was married, but that's when he's like, oh, obviously she didn't really love you if she didn't come to the United States. Obviously. Obviously, this was not a legit thing. Like,
I don't know. I have no idea.
Dude, who's gonna marry that little troll? Nobody.
Somebody looking for some money.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I don't know. I'm not gonna talk crap on the guy. Whatever. People have problems. People make mistakes. I do think that the treatment of the Q people was fairly balanced, at least in the beginning. I do, and like this is my oh god, it was so annoying having these hackers on. And then, I thought the cicada part was actually the most interesting part of the documentary, if I had to be honest.
Yeah.
I thought that this could be some giant psyop. That is actually could be true.
It could
possibly.
Could be true. Yeah.
Yeah, that's something that does make more sense. This is some sort of psychological operation for a particular group of people to be able to, for the government to have an excuse and come in and to have a target. You have to. It's what the CIA did.
It's interesting because I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. But they let Q kind of proliferate and build in the background for a couple of years, and then they did a media sweep where the media just covered it intensely the spring before the election. Starting in last February, March, and everybody was at home now and stuff like that because it was.
Well, they built the whole narrative out, and then what happens? The FBI and the CIA worked together in conjunction to plan the Capitol attack. That's it. And we know that's the truth. That is what has come out. The FBI said there was no coordination between individuals, all the 500 and some odd individuals, that there is scant evidence to prove that this has happened. But the Oath Keepers, who we now know is an FBI informant, he's not being charged. And then we're seeing the only person to plead guilty out of the 3 out of 17 or 4 out of 17 people that were not FBI or FBI informants in the Governor Whitmer kidnapping. He just got sentenced to 6 years. After 2 years, I think there's a process for appeal and to be brought out or whatever. But we're talking the FBI has coordinated, and the CIA has coordinated every major attack on the American people in the recent memory. And on government officials as well. And while they don't go after Antifa, they don't go after the Gestapo or the secret police for the regime. So I think that you're going to see some. This all goes back to they absolutely probably wanted this to happen, to continue. And then they just planted it. I mean, I'm telling you, you can go read Revolver's piece on January 6th by Darren J. Bietti. It's absolutely astonishing that what they knew 4 months ago, and to now what we know today. Oh boy, they knew it was going to happen, and there was agent provocateurs that started everything and got doors open.
Yeah, I mean, that seems pretty obvious. Even if you just watch the footage that's already there. But at least there's some agent provocateur, whoever they're from, whether they're from the government or they're just activist groups, I don't know. But yeah, the cicada thing was interesting, but it was kind of brought up to almost be like the first red herring, so it could be dismissed and then put all the attention on Ron and Jim. Mostly Ron by the end. I feel like it went pretty hard into implying that Ron is probably Q, which I didn't really buy, but I could be wrong.
So you don't think he's Q?
Ron?
Yeah, because I thought that's what they told us at the end.
I know that's what they very heavily imply that. Yes.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
very
like when
heavily. It's basically
did that
it's
mess
Ron
up,
and Jim.
right?
It's Ron and Jim, and they're the ones that are kind of behind the scenes.
I think the greatest piece of evidence is the pen stuff and the watch or whatever. So like those are like the two pieces of evidence, like from the pictures and the images.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would lead you assuming. But just and this is what absolutely destroyed it for me. That last hour or 2 hours, I know this stuff intimately. Like I actually really read about this stuff. I know everybody involved, all the players. I know like when you bring up General Flint and then you also don't bring up the fact that like he was basically what's the word, blackmailed by the DOJ, Department of Justice. Like
Oh yeah.
like how can you not bring up that narrative? How can you not bring up
Because
this
it's
part
not.
of the story?
Well, that's not part of the Q story.
Yes, it is. It is absolutely part of it. If
Why
you're
would it be
going to
part
bring
of the
up one,
Q story?
if you're, because he is one of the major players that they use, and how can you not give full context to how the government went after him because of the Afghan papers too? That's why he was forced retired because he was the one that got all the Afghan papers released.
Yeah, I know that, but like that's not. I mean, the stuff they. If maybe I'm
Wouldn't that?
misremembering, or I don't, or maybe I fell asleep during part of it or something. But like, it wasn't like his thing was that that he was one of the possible Qs. Also, and it was because he had said things and he had used the same. So go
Right.
one, so go we all. He had said a few Q-ish things in the public, and because I don't remember them really
Taking the Q oath.
I don't remember them actually like getting into him other
No,
than
but
that.
you could give a 60-second expose on, hey, this guy led to, he was obviously, yes, he was arrested for making a small mistake in perjury when the FBI agents, very small, but he could just be like, hey, he was arrested for this, he was charged with this. There is also accusations of DOJ blackmail, and he is also one of the main reasons that the Afghanistan papers came out in 2019. Like, I don't know, give me something other than this.
That's not their goal. I mean, that's not their.
Well, what is their goal? Exactly, to build a narrative to make people look
I
crazy.
thought their goal
and
was
not
to
give us the
find
truth.
Q.
I mean, you can't go open every single door. Like you gotta you have to barrel forward sometimes.
I disagree. When you talk about someone as pivotal in this entire Russiagate stuff and everything that had to do with Trump, and one of the biggest reasons that Q became popular, which was Russiagate, that's what they get into that in the beginning. Q started to be like pre, like this deep state. This is like the whole. Hold on. When Q started building its momentum, it was during the Russiagate stuff. Sure. When people couldn't turn anywhere, like that's where Q really got started.
Do you think Q is two different people? Because when they did like the analysis of like the writing, it was like way different, or the phrases and the exclamation points.
I think it was one person first, and then it was another person. So there's essentially yes, I think there's two Qs.
And the thing that I think is also one of the most integral parts of a psyop. So when you create something, so like the Q is created, gets minor success on 4chan, has to move to 8chan, a lot of people follow, things happen. It is smart to change your strategy, and this is how you find loyalists, okay? It's much like what we watched. Look how the CDC, the flip-flopping the message, and yes, I'll get a booster shot. They don't care. You're looking for loyalists, the most extreme people that will follow through.
You're looking for the dumb ones, yeah.
No, they're not dumb. There's an ideology. You're looking for someone to be ideological, not be. This has nothing to do with IQ. Emotional. What is it called? Emotional intelligence 2.0 gets into this like very heavily about IQ in relation to success. So like people that are ideological have, not that they're lower IQ, it's just some people just are way more susceptible to this type of thought process.
But they're the most intense, they're the craziest ones.
But right, so you change things, you get people to break down, and then you have them come in. You have them, now you got the most loyal guys, the ones that are the sycophants, superstars, fans, as you would say. And then boom, and now you got your actors that you need. You got the people that will do, more likely to do things that are crazy. And then you feel more exclusive because you're the one that's really following Q. and then you create that division where you have the old Q heads, and those guys just fall off, and they're no longer involved in the movement. So I just think like it seems very psychological operation. Like it just feels very pinpointed and accurate, and they found a weakness and they exposed it.
So you think there's only one Q?
No, I think it would just be a group of people.
Oh, it's the same
a think
operation.
tank,
Yeah.
a think tank even.
It might be like they saw with that cicada game. Maybe Q is something it starts as a game and then ends up just picking up steam and they just run with it because it's funny.
Or the CIA took it over.
I mean, dude, if you were, or the CIA took it over because a lot of those people that do those things are connected. But like, it's also, it's also a troll's paradise. That's the ultimate goal of a troll is to do something like Q, be able to pull that off on that scale and just laughing all and laughing all the way to the bank. I mean, or not the bank actually, because they didn't make any money from being Q really, other than selling merchandise, but.
Well, that didn't go to anyone in particular except the people that were pushing Q stuff, right? I don't know. It seems like a lot like the documentary, though. The way they framed it is that basically, like Sean said, free ideas, free expression, freedom of speech can lead to violence. That is the end result of uncontrolled speech, uncontrolled thoughts.
They have, and some of the people that they interviewed, the experts, like is it Jared Holt?
Oh, Lester Holt, you mean? Oh.
No, not Lester Holt. It was Jared. It's the guy from Right Wing Watch or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
And he's like he's only credited as like he's like a tech expert or something. And there's these dudes who just started doing this stuff a couple years ago, but that's all they do. They just try to get people canceled off of Twitter. Like that's what they do for a living.
And YouTube, yeah. All social media, really.
And they also like to dress like the band Vampire Weekend when they go out.
Well, they are vampires. They are living off of the souls.
Well, it was just like those people are, in a lot of ways, responsible for how Q big it gets because they give it attention that it never would have had before. I mean, like that's one of the funny things about it. It's like it makes this case for how dangerous and how crazy these people could be and stuff, but then it constantly shows that that there's not that many of them and they're not that like coherent or cohesive as a group. Like. They're not like they don't have it together in that kind of capacity, and it's kind of always funny to be like, oh, this scary Q people, and then you see them and you're like, I'm not that worried about it, and there's only like 40 people showed up, so
or if that,
yeah. My favorite character is the big guy with the young guy with the red big beard,
the dude with the always wearing the Trump hat.
Yeah, and he's always like he's all about God, and he's like. Yeah, I got my Jesus over here, and I got Trump over here. Like in his office.
The podcast. Yeah. He was funny. There's a lot of kooks. I guess that would be the nice way to say it.
Well, I don't think it's even kookiness. I think it's this. I mean, you're not wrong. I'm not gonna have a semantic argument, of course, but I don't think it's kooky. I think it's fracture. It's like this fracturing. You know, there's such distrust. Like,
but some of these people just did not look like they were playing with a full deck. They're little.
Okay, fair enough. You look back at Alex Jones 15 years ago.
He's always been like came off as competent.
I 100% disagree. But I don't think he if you watched him daily, okay, yes. But if you've seen just the clips, you just saw like the way people wanted you to see him.
I know who those people are. I know them beyond that documentary. Like I've seen their stuff. Like Liz Crocken, like I've seen all that crazy shit.
I understand. I think there's definitely going to have your onesies or twosies. I think for the general, I've met some Q people before. I think they turned to it mainly due to they felt despair. They felt like they couldn't get information from anywhere else.
But some of the stuff that Q says, it's like some of the stuff that maybe I would agree with. It's not like he's saying ridiculous things.
He's targeting people with a certain that are on a certain side of the spectrum, right? Like
that's who they're targeting. He says some of the stuff that like Alex Jones says or some of these other people say.
That's my point. Yes, and Alex Jones also platformed him. That is true. This Q person. He did. He's like, oh, I know who Q is. You know, and guess what? Alex Jones is an entertainer, so he's going to say stuff that's not true. That's something to keep in mind
He probably thought he knew, or he did know. Maybe he does know.
Did.
But were
Just
there
like-
some things that Q were saying that were true?
Well, like they show in the documentary, there was a couple points where these were the hard line. You know, it's kind of like asking if, like, okay, Mike, it's like asking, like, can you tell me God exists? Well, listen, have you ever heard of the miracle of Our Lady Fatima? It's like that. It's like they can point to a couple things that are like documented historically.
Yeah.
Like this is, look, he said it this time, and then boom. And maybe 90% of it is like, you know, he's just talking. This guy just ripping. He's just ripping.
Just ripping on
Smoking darts and fucking getting it done. You know, like I don't know.
But Q got out though. Like normies, boomers. There was a lot of boomers. A lot of people over the age of 50 got really into Q. I remember. I think I might have told this story on the podcast before. But like I went and I was just curious. So like Facebook stalked my old boss, and he's like in his 60s. And I went back through his Facebook posts from like the past like couple years, and he used to post Q stuff all the time. And he would say things like, well, isn't that fucking interesting, huh? Isn't that fucking interesting? So, like, I don't know, it introduced that world to a whole people that did not understand it. Didn't understand how it worked.
Is Q still around? Or
No.
he doesn't act anymore? He doesn't type? He's
Dude, what if he comes back?
Yeah, it's a Q, bigger and even better and longer and uncut,
Yeah.
whatever, like South Park.
But if they shut him down, why did he go away?
No, well, because he was only posting on 8chan,
Yeah,
and then 8chan got shut down. And
I know, but then he was still posting on the new one.
I don't know. I went to it, and the website
Well, he
runs
was in the
so
documentary,
slow. He runs slow. It's really hard to navigate. Honestly, their number one thing is like Q investigation or Q threads or something.
Yeah, Q research. I
Q
think
research.
is the
That's
board.
it. You know, listen. Is it at the end of the day? You don't listen to people that you can't know. Like you have to be able to see them. You have to be able to interact. Like even then, be careful. One of the greatest things I saw the other day, and I don't say this like with like happily, but sort of do, maybe because of my ego. But when Sam Harris came, because Sam Harris fell for it too. That's what I'm saying. This has nothing to do with IQ. Sam Harris fell for Russiagate. He fell that Trump was the evil scourge of the earth. This guy just like he went against all of his. I think it's called decantological. There's a certain word. Gad said it, and it's in a parasitic mind. But basically, he went against all of his principles, all of his beliefs, and said Trump needs to be banned. That Trump is the one guy that deserves it. That this needs to happen. He tried to qualify it, saying that that Hitler had more virtue than Trump did. Saying Osama bin Laden, 9/11, like he was like a better guy than Trump. Basically, complete ideology, like nothing to do with like anything. Like the guy's a nut. Like he's like, you're an idiot. You're cuckoo, right? As Sean would say, kooky. And he said, on January 20th, 2021, it said, it's nice to have the adults back in the room. ... Something like to that effect. And then he posted yesterday, he goes, I'm eating these words slowly, syllable by syllable. Or something to that effect. What are you guys' response on that? What do you think? Do you think that's like him recognizing? Or what do you think that means?
What, that he says he regrets saying that he thought the adults were back in charge?
Right.
I think Sam Harris is a ego-driven person, and I think a lot of that, it could just be people brought it to his attention. He was catching a lot of heat, and he was just like, well, okay, this is a pretty easy thing for me to take back.
Oh, now's the time. If you're not going to do it now, when are you?
Here's a question. Did you guys ever hang out on like these websites like 4chan or 8chan? Like, did you ever like go on there?
No.
I have, yeah. But it really is a graphic place, dude. Like
Yeah,
it is.
It's not for the faint of heart.
It is seriously graphic.
Because I didn't even know those kind of places existed. Like that was like interesting with the documentary. It was like all new. I was like, wow,
Yeah.
these places.
No, I thought like I think the first, like Dan had said before, like the first like 3 hours are like very interesting. It's intriguing.
Yeah.
I mean, even me being familiar with it, like I learned some things. I thought it was really well done. It's slick, you know. It's just when it starts like kind of, because it's not about the subject matter. It's about what like the thesis of the documentary ends up being is like, well, maybe we should curtail freedom of speech on the internet. Like that's kind of the big broad takeaway. And they don't say it explicitly, but I feel
Well, they
like
kind of
that
do. They're like,
they kind of do, yeah.
prevent
Well,
these
it's all these-
shootings
it's all
from
these-
happening.
It's all these like super lefty hackers, like the ones that are supporting the FBI, and like, you know, I think Lester Holt or whatever, Jared Holt. I think he also runs a different one where they're actually actively searching for people that and giving all their information up to the FBI for January 6th.
Yeah.
I think he's one of those guys too that works with all this stuff. And you know, I don't know. I really don't want to let go of you because I really wanted to dive into that a little bit more. If you guys don't mind, Mike, what did you think about that? Sam, you know who Sam Harris is?
Yeah, I know who Sam Harris is.
He debated Jordan Peterson about atheism
yeah, he's just
versus.
admitting that he was wrong. That's what I think about it. I don't really know. I mean, that's all from what it sounds like.
Well, you take a guy with a very high IQ. He's a neuroscientist, like smart guy, like, you know. Where's the line? You know,
It's
I guess
just
like
everybody is susceptible to their biases,
right.
Or their particular tastes, or whatever it is. Right. I think that is really the only takeaway from that, and I think it has to do with like he runs in certain circles where it's going to be expected that you have that position, and I think maybe even on a subconscious level, I'm not a psychotherapist, but I would say maybe even on a subconscious level, he just rationalized it. I can understand him not liking Trump. That's fine. He doesn't like him as a person. He doesn't like him as a president. Whatever, that's fine.
But that was beyond.
No, but he would just go so hard in the paint on things where you're like, dude, you're obviously like just.
I couldn't listen to him anymore.
Just being stupid. I mean, he's not clearly working through what he was saying, and it's all emotional. But like that's something everybody's susceptible to. I've done it, I'm sure, a million times. You hear people do it all the time when you listen to a lot of podcasts, especially when you listen to like political pundits, right? So many times people fall into this like, well, I gotta support the team, and my brain just automatically goes to why I think this is okay. I mean, just as much like you have right now with what's going on in Afghanistan. Joe Biden, is he doing a good job? Is he doing a bad job?
I don't think this is split very at all, except for a very small minority.
Yeah, but it's already swinging back the other way. It's already swinging back to those people who are like, okay, well, maybe, and that's.
Well, I mean, I think the Republicans are just as much to blame for Afghanistan as anybody else.
No, I'm talking about we're just exclusively talking about the withdrawal. That's all I'm talking, and about how people reacted to it. And how some people, even now, they're so emotionally invested in their decision to vote for Joe Biden that they, no matter how much it was fucked up, they would never say that he was doing a bad job. And they will talk about Florida COVID numbers. That's like the meme. It's like almost like a meme on Twitter right now. Everybody's like, yeah, 13 people died, but
they just got caught doing it again, combining a whole week's worth of numbers, and then
I'm sure, yeah, but.
Saying it was a day. I don't know. And I've
been watching a lot of public freakout.
Well, that's pretty easy to find nowadays, I think.
It's so awesome, dude. People freak out about the dumbest things. I love it. And, I learned about that channel, though, from that Frederick.
Oh, you've never heard of Public Freakout? Oh.
No, because when he came out of the courtroom, he's like, we better get out of here before I get on Public Freakout.
Michael just picked up his phone. He was like,
yeah, he's like, what is this? Hours of
It's a whole new world.
Yeah.
You got to watch out. You got to get sucked in.
Oh, I've been watching Public Freakout.
6 hours is gone. You're like, oh.
It's just great. It's funny to see.
You got to have like a real sick fuck personality. Like, I guess we all do. Or we can like withstand like watching cringe videos for like 8 hours. We could do it.
Dude, I can't stand watching YouTube with Ryan. I can't.
He jumps around too much.
No, it's beyond that. He just watches like
he watches
comps and like compilations, and I'm like, I I can't, dude. I need to watch something that is longer than like a minute. Like, let me absorb. Let me get into the
Then
thing.
you gotta just get a longer compilation. That's all.
No, what I mean is like, just I want to interact. You know, I want to like.
But like,
look,
what kind of contact? Like what?
Cringe.
Like, what is he watching?
like cringe stuff. Like, someone's
Mukbangs
like,
and cringe
yeah,
videos.
oh, dude, the mukbangs, dude. I tell them, I'm like, don't put that shit on. I don't want.
What is it?
Mukbang is where people eat a massive amount of food in one sitting, and it's disgusting. They're like,
Well,
it's not funny, dude. It's really sad, and it's really
I could watch
disgusting.
that.
It's disgusting to see these people throw their lives away. Like, you can see them from
Look
like
at
2
this
years
hater.
ago.
this
when
haters
they-
over there
Well,
quipping
listen,
about me saying
listen.
kooky, and he's all these losers.
No, I think, along with like the guy that directed the Key to Storm, freedom is very dangerous, and we need to control these people's eating habits. This is no, because what is that the next step? Is that the next step on YouTube? Like, this is unhealthy eating, so like we can't allow it to be shown.
It could be.
like-
It's possible. Actually, well, probably
Like-
not because of the fat lobby. But
No, I mean, because this is the thing. This is the when the establishment decides, it happens. So if the establishment starts going, okay, well, you can't weigh over this amount and be on YouTube. Okay, you can't do this. Like, they would do it.
goddamn.
The establishment supported it.
Well, I mean, hey, then I'd
Hey,
only see beautiful people.
If your BMI is too high, you can't fly on planes. You're putting us at risk. You are a travel. It's crazy. I just don't know where it ends and how it ends, but it's not going to be fun unless we all start creating these parallel institutions, like using Rumble, and it's going to be interesting, man. Because like the podcast world has been it's been pretty safe. It's been pretty well protected. Because we've never been pulled off of anything, right?
Our Zubox?
No, audio, dude.
Audio wise, no.
That's like the safest.
But that's because like, but theoretically, if we got attention,
yeah.
If there was more than 40 people downloading an episode, then yeah, we probably would maybe catch some shit.
I mean, I think that's really the thing, though, is like, so do you want to stay under the radar? Are we the new war room pandemic? Is
Could
this
be.
just us? Are you guys on the in crowd? Okay? Like, if you really think about it, you're just exclusive. Don't share this shit with your friends, okay? Because we need to keep this shit as small as possible. This is our
I will
goal.
not be cued. I will not be cued.
I will not be cute. I maybe that is kind of part of the goal, though. I think is, maybe keeping small, tight knit like type things like this. Because I was reading, there was this guy. I think he's a lefty guy. He makes like $30,000 a month, and he does like 1 or 2 episodes of his podcast a week, and
No, the goal on YouTube, the YouTube game, is like 25 to 50,000 subs, with say 10% of those people that are kind of very dedicated. And if you have that, then you could make a living.
Yeah.
You could make a living if you have that audience. But you got to get like 50 to 60,000 to get the 2 to 6,000 dedicated.
You need to give you $5, yeah.
What did you guys think about the engineer that invented the thing for Twitter that would allow you to get on? It was on the QAnon documentary. Like, he gave it to Ron. It like allowed your tweets to get exposed more. He like engineered some kind of
like a bot. Yeah, it was like a bot.
Yeah.
You probably couldn't. They're a lot harder to use these days, if I'm not mistaken. I know, but people, they buy followers and stuff. I mean, but
Yeah.
Is that what is essentially what they were doing?
Basically, probably.
either that or just making
He was making
10,000
like
bot
his
accounts.
tweet. Like, it was something that every time he tweeted, it would make it get exposed more.
Yeah, it'd probably just be like a bunch of bots coming in and just like
liking it,
sharing it and liking it.
And then that's how it works. Like, that's how you see viral tweets, even if it's like from nobody you really know.
I love seeing the people with like a
so,
million. It's like with a million, and every time they tweet something, it's like 5 people liked it.
Yeah, because there's a lot of
2 people reshared it.
a lot of people that still have like bots, dead accounts, all that kind of stuff.
Dude, I'm trying to get Ron Coleman to come on, dude. I'm trying to get that Ron Coleman
Who's Ron Coleman?
and Harmeet. Huh?
What the hell is that?
Harmeet, dude. They're like the 2 They're constitutional lawyers. They've been fighting all over America, like trying to like fight back.
Oh, I know Ron
I
Coleman.
love Ron Coleman. He's the fattest, coolest Jew I've ever seen. He's fucking awesome. He's hilarious, dude. This guy is a riot, dude. He is funny. I do highly recommend you check out, listen to his podcast, because it is actually, he is just the quickest, fastest dude on the, like, he's right off the gun. Him and Michael Malice together are like hilarious. It's so funny. But I love Ron Coleman. I talked to him a little bit today. I'm trying to get him on. Man.
What do you mean? You talked to him on the Twitter?
Yeah, I talked to him on Twitter. DM'd him.
You just say, "Yo, dog, I love your stuff."
I always comment on his stuff, and he always comments back. Like, he's just cool.
Oh, you guys
he's
are
cool.
like,
He follows me. It's not a big deal. You know,
fucking Ron rules.
I just tell him
he's fallen in love.
I love Jews. I love them. I'm a Zionist. Like, straight up, fuck the Palestinians, bro. Like, fuck.
After this Ron Coleman situation, after you got married, you have to.
Well, yeah, to a Jew. I'm just trying to get in wherever I can get fit in. You know what I mean? Like, I'll wear a fucking yarmulke. I don't give a shit. I'll do the Sabbath or Shabbat, whatever it's.
You're gonna be like Walter Sobchak from the Big Lebowski.
Do fucking Hanukkah,
dude.
You won't be no more Christmas for you. You fuck.
No, dude. I'll still do Christmas in the secret.
No.
In secret.
I'll
take my. I'm not allowed, dude. I'm a free Jew. You know, I'm free. I'm like Edelman. I just go to the Wailing Wall and I'm in. I'm locked, ready to go. Now, I mean, I think if being, Jews figured it out, man. Jews stick to themselves and they just tell everyone to go eat shit and die. That's what Jews do. They go, fuck you. Like, that's it. Dude, they own an entire part of New York City and they have their own police and like they're like Native Americans in New York.
And nobody can touch them because they went through the Holocaust. It's like, no, you can't.
Yeah. He's like, all right, man. So I'm just trying to get some of that Holocaust magic. Just get some of that rubber. I'm gonna grow out my shaklackles. I don't know what they're called.
Shaklackles. I like that.
Yeah.
It works.
But you just gotta be like, gotta have a little hoppers. You gotta just say stuff like, shalom, brother. Like, I'm going to start even doing the Hasidic Jew accent. I'm going to do it all, dude. I'm going to just call me, like, Netanyahu. Just saying, dude, Netanyahu, I'm just going to be called Nesferatu. Netanyahu is the ex-prime minister of Israel. Not good. Okay, I'm trying. Who are you? I'm Nosferatu, the vampire Jew. Like, that would be me, dude. It would be sick. I imagine. But
He's still going with it. Like, it didn't just. Listen, I blew it up. It's done.
It's not
dead,
done.
man.
It's never done, Sean. Listen, give me the freedom of speech to be violent, and let me be Nosferatu. But just come, guys. Let's just be Jewish. Let's just start like acting Jewish at least. Let's just start doing it. Just like, shalom, brother, shalom. And they'll be like, aren't you Catholic? But like, yeah, bro, but Jews are sick. It's like and like reading Arthur Herman's idea of Klein Western history and then Thomas Sowell's Discrimination and Disparities. He gets into the Jews. Dude, the Jews are like the most resilient group of people on the face of the earth. They've been through more as a unit. Jews got it. Jews got, like, as the way they've been treated throughout history. I think there's a really good argument.
Well, Dan, if you become like Jewish, like the religion, you can become. I guess you're not a Jew, but you'd be Jewish.
I get $1 million. This is what happens. They just, there you go. Shalom, brother. And I'm like, shalom, dog.
No, he'd be like Walter from the Big Lebowski.
Yeah, and I think they go to church on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean,
it's called Temple, Michael. You're an awful
Temple, whatever it is. But I think they go on Saturday. They don't go on Sunday.
Yeah, listen, I'm not going to be like an active Jew. I'm going to be a passive Jew, and I'm just going to reap all the benefits of being Jewish. You know what I mean? I'll just come up for Hanukkah. I'll just fucking hang out. No, but like they really are a very disciplined group of people. It's kind of incredible. It really is, and it's how they are very.
I mean, the Chinese are like that.
Yeah.
Japanese.
They don't count.
They don't count.
What the heck has the Japanese done since, like, I don't know, 1940, whatever? The Jews have been dominant for forever.
I don't know, dude. I really like anime, so.
It is true. Maybe I could
I don't know, Dan. They made some awesome cars.
Maybe I should be a Mandarin Jew. How about a Japanese Jew? I could be whatever you want me to be, baby.
Japanese are getting enough omega-3s.
Oh, omega.
You said name something that they do.
They don't get enough omega-3?
No, they get enough omega-3s.
Oh, because of the fish. Okay.
Oh, we're just burning it down today.
Mike knows exactly what Japan's about. Listen, dude, plenty of omega-3s. The fatty acids are good. They're they definitely get in the vitamin D. I don't know if you know, they get a lot of sun there in Japan. The reason,
Actually, in that documentary, when Ron's living in Japan, it looked like a sweet place to live with all the mountains and snow. It looked kind of cool.
Yeah.
Everybody lives in little shoe boxes. Every store is a little shoe box, but it's beautiful.
I mean,
you crammed in there. You live in Japan, dude.
No,
but did you see those roads, Sean? Those things were well taken care of for in that kind of climate. No bumps.
Because they'll kill you. They'll kill you. You scuff the road, death, instant.
I don't know. What are the Japanese police hardcore?
No, they're completely different culturally.
No,
so like they're more regimented. So they have a very strict culture, very hardline culture. There are certain things you. Maybe our listeners don't know, Sean.
No, I was wondering about their government, their enforcement, like.
No, because they just do what the government tells them to.
That's what I thought.
No, that's why, because like Germany, a lot of Europe, they were under Stalin, and like they are used to the fucking just you do it or we kill you. Like that's it. So they were used in the imperialist Japanese when they were an empire and they had emperors and all that stuff. I mean, these people, dude, you stepped out of line, you're dead. Like that was. So you're talking the same thing with.
But how do you think it is to live over there, like Ron's doing?
Ron, no,
he seems like he had a good life. Like he seemed like he was pretty free.
No,
like running up the mountain. He's got the fucking.
They don't have as many laws against their people because they're so tightly regimented. The moment the government says something, they do it. It's like Germany. For a lot of Germans, they go, there, dude, the police they don't need qualified immunity. You talk back to a police officer in Germany, they will beat you and leave you there. Like they will take out their billy club and smash you in the face. And they'll just be like, all right, dude, see ya. Like, that's it. You don't talk back to German police. Americans, they don't care. They don't care. That's just the way their society is. So when the police tell you to do something, you do it. Or you get smashed across the face with a billy club. Like, that's the society they live in. Not very.
Do you feel like it's a fair trade, Michael?
To be
able to hit those sick trails.
I mean, I don't know. It looked like a pretty nice place to live. It looked like I don't know. I mean, I've never heard anything bad about people living in Japan.
Oh, I mean, it's just
don't
fucking piss off the mafia, dude. That's it.
But do you guys ever hear anything bad about people living in Japan? Like Americans go there all the time. The military's over there.
They have a lot of social issues over there with people and incel communities and video games. There's actually their whole generation of people that are like kind of psychologically weird.
They're very aggressive. So like the reason manga has so much sex in it is because they actually are trying to educate people how to have sex. So in Japan and South Korea, if I'm not mistaken as well, it's very common. Like, if like Mike, right? Like when you met your wife, or Sean, you met yours. You maybe you saw him in public, you saw him at work. Mike, you saw your wife at a club, right? Like a dance, like everyone's dancing, having fun. Well, from what I've heard, and I've never been there, this is what I've heard, especially in Japan, the guys, like when they want to make a move on a girl, they swamp them. Like they run up to them when they're standing on a wall, like I'm dead serious, and just start smacking it and screaming.
Like, I can handle that. That's no big deal for me.
No. I'm
talking about like the laws and stuff.
It's a real thing. It's a real thing. They're super aggressive, is what I mean. Like they're aggressive.
Michael, you have daughters. You need to know this when you move your family to Japan.
Yeah,
this is just going to happen to them.
Well, you couldn't move to Japan. You're not allowed to live there. You will not be in. I think they allow
you can. Like if you work for a company.
Yeah, that's a visa. I'm like, you cannot move. No, it's very different. They have the tightest. I think Japan is one of the tightest immigration in the world. They are so hard. I think I was reading.
They're gonna want a guy like me.
No, they won't. You're white. They do not want you.
Yeah, unless they want me there.
You're like super wealthy and you bring a lot of industry jobs, like something.
Actually, Michael, there's a queue you're gonna have to get into. There's a line of white guys.
Oh, a queue. I thought you meant you're gonna have to talk to Q.
Well,
you're gonna have to get to this guy Q. He'll get. But like, no, they're very racist. They don't. Interracial marriage is virtually culturally outlawed. You can't. You if you're American, you can't go to certain parts of the city. Like you can't go to certain areas.
Oh, you could get married to a Japanese woman if you were there and you had a visa.
It's very difficult.
No,
because you have to get, dude. I'm not saying it's not possible, but
I do know a little bit of this specifically because I used to listen to a lot of video game podcasts. And one of the podcasts I listened to were the people that did like the American translations for Japanese role-playing games, and they all met their wives in Japan and had kids and stuff.
Do they live in Japan?
Yes.
Okay. That's very rare. It's very rare. It's very hard to do because in Japanese culture you have to have permission from the parents. Like it's all culturally enforced. It's very difficult. They're like Mormons. Like if you shame them, you denounce like something, like you're done. Like they're like Muslims in a way. They just don't fucking play it. And my buddy was in Tokyo when he was there, and he was like, dude, like it's crazy. Like if you're American and you walk into a certain place, they will tell you to get the fuck out. They'll like yell at you, like get out, go. And I call you a certain term. I can't remember what it's called in Japanese. Maybe if you're a Japanese resident, it's different, but they're very just different culturally. And I'm telling you, I watched this 30-minute doc on the love language of Japan, and it's freaking hilarious. You're like,
I gotta find this video,
dude. I'll send it. I'll find it because like they literally show them. They act like it's manga. So they walk up to women, they'll be like, "Aya, da da da," and like
it's pretty awesome, actually. I mean, that would have made things so simple, very straightforward. No games, no bullshit.
All super hard movements and like aggressive, and you're like, oh, because they don't know how to be a man. They don't know strength and dominance, so that's what they're exposed to. That's what their government literally designed manga. They said we want it to be as aggressive to get males to be more engaging. Might have had it backfired, honestly. Maybe. Too much sex, too much. They're just jerking off to it all the time.
Michael, now if you moved to Japan with your family, Michael.
Like, yeah, it's they made it easier in 2016, it says, but one of the biggest things is the tax. You get taxed like hell.
It's like 70%.
Yeah.
But dude,
they did make it easier to where you can move there, and it's easier to get. They said it's easier than Canada or the United States to actually get citizenship there, but you get taxed very heavily.
But to get citizenship, to immigrate, those are two.
No, to get citizenship.
Listen.
I just read it. It says citizenship within 1 year. If you, it just said it's easier to get citizenship there than in 2016. They changed it. To get citizenship in Japan, it's easier than in the to get it in the United States or Canada.
Okay, that's not what I said. To immigrate is the difficult part. To allow you to be in their country is the hard part. Then maybe the citizenship part is easy. That's different. It's like their immigration numbers are super low. They're just like super low. So yes, they make it easy to get citizenship. You know, if you can live under their rule for a year, maybe that's just what they believe. I've looked into this before because I thought it was cool because I was looking at immigration numbers. Obviously, America's like number one. Like Europe and all of Europe, all those countries are getting screwed too. Which I think maybe we're moving towards a third industrial revolution, and they're trying to bump up our stock. Like maybe that's what this is about, letting all these people into our country. Can't be just politically. There's got to be motivated by corporations as well.
What do you mean? We're trying to get more workers to like have more manufacturers to keep up with like China?
New slaves, yeah, just new slave class. Just keep all keep Mexicans poor. Let them get the low-wage earning jobs, educate our people, and they'll do all manual labor manufacturing, and then all the American people will be the ones that get like the gooch jobs. I'm not saying I want that, but I'm saying that is definitely a part of the, the Koch brothers are famous for like they're pro-immigration. All the major
fuckers.
All the major corporations are pro-immigration.
Fucking bastards.
And you think that's why?
No, I mean. Yeah, no. Well, what it does is it fucks with the wages too, so they don't have to pay Americans more. Because on they'll be like, hey, listen, $7.25, it doesn't need to change. That's one of the main reasons we've had such hard issues. And then they're creating the caste system with education and credentials and government approval and authority and regulations coming in saying, like, you can't work on computers unless you have a license. You can't sell computers unless you're a licensed software developer. You can't just do that on your own and sell it to people. So they put all these, like, I think it was Milton Friedman or it was one of them. They literally said something to the effect, like, everyone thinks that, like, we elect. Every 2 years, we elect roughly 2 to 2.5% of our government. Every 2 years. That's it. 2 to 2.5%. The rest is all bureaucracy. And the founding fathers did not prepare us for bureaucracy, these bureaucrats.
But does that like include like people in the FBI and stuff? Is that what they're saying? So like anybody.
But basically any entity where there's no electorate process that works with the government at the federal level or state is a bureaucracy. They're not elected, they're hired and fired, and they can stay there forever. And there's really hard to get rid of, especially federal employees. It's very difficult after like 3 years. They insulated themselves and protected themselves from being able to be fired. So I think that is kind of where you get this, the regulators are who hires these people, who gets to decide who's on these regulatory boards and gets to make all the regulations, while the lobbyists that are ex-big corporate guys get to go in. It would be like this. Imagine if Marlboro or big tobacco went and hired the Surgeon General of the United States. That is an ex-big tobacco executive. And there's like, yeah, smoking's completely healthy. It's the same thing with Raytheon and Dynacor and all these other ones. Like that is the real corrosion and the nasty stuff that we're seeing in America. And they're the ones that are going to come for you and me and whoever else,
So Japan. I'm just checking. I don't know. What the hell were we talking about?
I don't know. I was talking. No one wanted to answer, I guess. Okay.
No, I listened to what you said. I just didn't have much to add to it. I guess. I was trying to remember what was said before you went on that tangent. That's all. The only thing I could remember was Japan.
Well, that's what we were talking about.
Yeah, we were talking about the numbers for lower jobs, increasing the population.
There we go.
Yeah. So we could have a bigger workforce to keep up with the rest of the world.
Right? I mean, do I get free stuff? I mean, what's going on? Like,
no, you would just get a better job, and they would take all the the labor and like the crappy.
No, I know. Yeah, no, they're gonna be working all the manual labor stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
that's why they would let all these.
That's they already do that. That's why we have. That's why we let immigrants in, or also allow illegal immigration. Yeah, because it helps our GDP.
I don't know if it helps our GDP.
What's the GDP?
Gross domestic product is what we export and import, and or export, or what we make every year, as a country. I don't know how it would help our GDP. I'm sure it does.
Because you have a cheaper labor force.
Yeah, but then you also have inflation to deal with, so that affects our GDP too.
But that's why you control the rate of immigration to help control the inflation.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do use. Should it be a controlled thing? I guess.
That's one of the arguments I've heard a lot about why we should have more immigration. Because it actually helps the cost of products for a purchaser. It helps drive prices down. That's what they say. I'm not saying I agree with it. I'm saying that's the argument that I've heard made. But anyways,
I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. But yeah, a big economic crisis is coming, and I think the immigrants that are coming here now will be used for that for sure. They're going to be used to help rebuild. This is an argument that I've heard, and I'm like, it may be true. What it's going to do to us culturally, and who's going to have the control over these people, and what happens, and it's going to be scary. I think this is really when you talk about Afghan evacuees. the refugees coming out of Afghanistan right now. I think 110,000 people have been evacuated roughly. 5,500 of them are American citizens. Another 7,000 are actually Afghani SIVs. Those are the people that worked for the U.S. government. So you're talking roughly 90,000, let's just say, people that are completely like unvetted, really, in a literal way. It's gonna be interesting.
Well, they're already reporting that amongst the people that have been evacuated, there are potentially terrorists.
Yeah.
Which I assume is not to like be completely conspiratorial or anything, but it's just like if I were to put my conspiracy hat on, I would say this would be a way to for people to expect bad things to happen in their own country, and they'll be able to use it to their advantage.
Yep, I agree. I think it would be like some mass casualty events, and then they'll be like, "Oh no, Patriot Act 3.0, dog. Got to fucking take everything." I'm for abolishing the government completely at this point, but I know you guys disagree. But I just do not want these people running my life anymore. This is going to be bad. It's only heading in one direction at this point, unless we can just. I mean, can it correct itself? Is this possible? Do you guys have any belief? What is the system giving you guys as a belief that things are going to recorrect in correct course? What is the institution, I guess, providing you with this mindset that you think it's salvageable? Maybe I think is or that I don't know that they're gonna do what they're supposed to do in your mind.
Michael.
Yeah. So I mean, this DeSantis.
Okay.
That's my answer, Dan. Listen. That's a loaded question. I can't go into all of it.
Oh, see, it's not fun answer. When you're on the other side. No, but I'm being honest. DeSantis.
No, that's my honest answer.
But DeSantis is one man. DeSantis.
Dan, you asked me to give an answer.
Okay. Well, I'm just saying it's not fun when you're on the other side of the gun, is it?
No, I think
what is giving you hope though that this is going to fix it?
I don't think hope is the right way, because I don't know. I mean, it's hard to have hope or not have hope. I'm kind of just neutral on it. But practically, I don't think the government will be abolished. I think so. I have to think about what do I think is a more realistic way to do, and I have to start with myself, and I have to get involved in my local community and pay attention to the people that I elect locally, and and hopefully that's something that grows into something bigger and could potentially at some point work its way through the system if you get better people involved in government. I don't have a timeline. I don't know. It could take 100 years.
September 2nd, they're having a board meeting.
You're going?
Talking about raising our taxes or some shit. I gotta go figure it out.
See, there you go. That's perfect. That's what I'm talking about. Get involved in the places you live, because that's really what matters in your day-to-day life. You want to have a good surrounding, a good community to be a part of.
But maybe I'll agree with the tax raises, because
that's possible. Of course.
I need to read more into it. I think it's something to do with, I forgot. I've read the paper, but I forgot even what it was about.
Yeah, it's like building a Walmart.
It was something. It was like infrastructure for
an
something.
amphitheater or something. Yeah, it's always something like that.
It's infrastructure. Well, it's going to bring up this, that. Listen, I don't know. I mean, so you guys think small. That's good. I agree with you on that. Think small. Aim small, miss small type deal? Is that what you mean? Politically?
No, I'm just saying it has to start there. And then you, start raising then you raise and elect people that are going to move through the system if they're successful.
I don't think
they could reach heights of higher influence, Some people, I mean, there are there are some people there are people like Rand Paul involved in politics,
the softball.
But you got to be involved to be able to even know that person exists, And
I think that I don't think the government's going anywhere, and I don't really want it to, because if if that ever did happen, like there would be a lot of people that got hurt in that process, and I mean, it would just be like really bad.
Really?
I think so. I mean, that's what history's shown us. Anytime a government fails or there's a revolution, it's never like peaceful.
Who does the killing?
I'm just saying that's what
Well,
my point is, Dan.
the
It's
question
like
is,
if you
okay,
rebel.
let's say tomorrow. We're not talking about rebellion. Let's say tomorrow, every American stopped listening to the government. They said, you know what? Nope, you're done. Right? Okay. That's the vote. That's the unanimous vote of America. Let's just say 95%. Let's just say dream utopia, crazy, idealistic. And they wanted to replace it. Should they have that right?
What do you mean?
Yeah, if everyone agreed.
If everyone basically in America
That means
said,
almost everybody in the government would have to agree too.
no. Ignore the government. Those people are 500-600 people in that legislate, that argue and bicker, and they put on political theater in front of us, and then they affect our lives, in greater ways than what their political theater shows. So the question is, if everybody stood up tomorrow and said, you know what, we're done with this system. Okay, now listen, they just say that. We're done. If who do you think is going to fight first in that scenario?
The government, Dan. We know that.
Right. So the question is, it's not about who is violent. If a group of people come and try to depose the government and they say, we're done with you, peacefully, most of the time, governments start violence. Organizationally, I mean, if you're talking about a revolution, a violent rebellion, that's different.
But okay. I mean, that only occurs in like your very idealistic version
No,
where
that's not true.
where that many people agree with that choice. Like
The French.
you already see partisanship that breaks out into real world violence now.
Yes.
Like,
but it's manufactured by the things that we argue about are mainly manufactured by media. I'm not saying that would go away. I'm just saying the idea that if Americans said all together, a large majority of Americans just said, we're not listening to you anymore, just like the South did to the North during the Civil War. It was the North who came down to Fort Sumter and killed people. Okay? Like, this is something I don't think the idea that people who want to do a breakaway thing, do their own thing, is that an issue? I guess.
Dan, if it got so bad, then yeah, there's obviously like a point where like things can be crossed, but that point has not crossed for me yet.
Mm-hmm. What is the breaking point, I guess, for you?
The breaking point would be like if they're going to like insert a chip into my head or make me have some kind of like vaccine passport to travel, like mandate everybody to get vaccinated. Those are like breaking points. Yeah, they talk about it, but that hasn't happened yet. So things like that would be like the breaking point, trying to abolish all, like take away everyone's gun rights, those kind of things would be like the breaking points.
What about you, Sean? What would be your breaking point?
I don't know.
Before you actually felt like you should do something, I guess, or like that this has gone too far. When has it gone too far for you personally?
Well, I guess in some ways it already has.
Yeah, in some ways it has.
I mean, like I don't know, man. It's a tough one to answer. It's kind of like something like maybe I might not know until it was in front of me. I don't know exactly what that would look like.
Just might be too late by then, right?
It's possible. Then I'm willing to accept that.
Fair enough.
I don't know. I have a line. There's obviously like a line, and that's the line. But I don't feel like I feel like they've talked about some of these things, but it hasn't gotten to that point yet for me.
Yeah, but
and I don't want my kids growing up in a world where like there's fighting going on and like a civil war. Basically, I don't really want that.
I'm not advocating for war,
but that's what
I'm advocating
that
for.
Would be the consequence of it.
Mass peaceful non-compliance. Yes, and I think yes, there is always evil will always be there. Evil will always provide for itself, and it's like did you guys see that video of the New York City?
Well, Dan, just like you said though, these people in power, they're not just going to give it up, right? So like, if you just don't listen to them, yeah, they're going to have violence on you. So then people will start acting violence against them. So then there would turn into like a civil war because
anything's possible. I'm not saying that the idea of rebellion is bad. I think it's a misnomer. It's misplaced. You should rebel against your government. You should be against your government because your government, in the words of the founding fathers, is our Satan, is our adversary. They are always at this, or should always be at this position of defiance. It is not about, like equality is impossible to have, right? Like it really is true. Equality is impossible. The idea that government can force us to be equal, can mandate our equality, and then that's the thing that gives us our equality or our freedoms. We have negative rights. Our rights exist always, and that's against the government. That's the negative part. But I think what we've lost the idea is that the government is supposed to protect our rights. That's not true. You, as an individual, are supposed to protect your rights, not the government. And I think that's the point where we have changed that narrative, that the police are there to protect you from the criminal when they themselves are the criminal. It's a monopoly on violence. It's a monopoly in organized violence, as Tolstoy would say. So I think it's interesting that I'm not even for completely getting rid of everything in the system. I'm just saying, like, there should be something that is really, they are in every aspect of our lives, and I just don't know at what point will it be too much for me. I think it's too much now. I think it's way too much now. And the question is, like, how long will we continue down this path? Will it be like Gattaca?
Well, why is it too much for you now? What are they doing to you?
I have no privacy.
What do you mean?
Property rights are being stripped away in America.
No, what do you mean you have no privacy? Like on your phone and stuff?
Yeah, I have no true privacy. I have no true. They can look at anything. They can access all my files, my nudes, whatever. They can do whatever they want. The FBI can come in and kick in my door and shoot me in the head and say, oops, and no one gets held accountable. No one gets held accountable. They protect big corporations like Pfizer.
I know, but Dan, isn't some of that reforming the police? Isn't that like some of these things are correcting themselves because people are abusing the power? That's what the whole.
Okay. I think the police argument is a really good thing that you just brought up. I think that's a really fine point to bring up, and because pressure.
No, but are some of these things like correcting, so now everyone sees from cell phones the police were kicking in doors, like that one girl and she got shot, whatever. So aren't these things kind of correcting themselves as we speak almost?
Absolutely. Until the regime starts hiding those things from you. Until the regime starts setting up false flag events and false flag attacks to trick you into going along with whatever they want. To make you so afraid for yourself and for your freedoms that you will give them all up. That's the ultimate goal of government. That is, it's by its design, that's what it wants. These people don't function off of the basis they need to feel validated. They're narcissists. They need to feel important. They need to feel like they're making big, sweeping changes. And they will do by any means necessary. So I think the police point is really good. That's an excellent point because a lot of social pressure, minimal violence, some riots, those things happened. Absolutely.
Well, there was a lot of violence.
Well, what has changed, I think, for police because of George Floyd? I think you could argue it's gotten worse for certain groups of people because of that. But I think it's also the police in Chicago. They can't do their jobs, which I may disagree with fundamentally, but it has made the city less safe. But also, those are the same people restricting people from having their rights, from having a gun. Those are the same exact people that will come arrest you because you just have a gun. And you're not doing anything illegal with it. Like, you're not trying to hurt somebody or rob. You're just a guy with a gun. Now you're the enemy. The United States is under perpetual martial law all the time. It's just not the military. It's just the police. And I think that's a problem, personally.
Michael?
What? There's No,
Fair enough. I
just-
mean, we can disagree. That's fine. I'm just saying my piece. Sean, get
Yeah.
off Twitter, dude. You're doing a podcast.
It's okay. I'm looking for things to talk about.
No. I just think some of these things maybe will correct themselves. That's what I'm hopeful for, and I hope people like DeSantis step up, and not that he's going to be everything, but just more people like that start getting into office, and just people that want freedom. So that's what I'm hopeful for.
Fair enough. I hope so too, man. I hope if the system is there that people get in and they don't abuse it, but they always do. That's the worst part.
No, I mean, I don't know. No, I'm not, I mean, I'm just not on board with complete abolishment of everything. I do think like some part of what we talk about or we define as like freedoms or whatever, I think some of those things are compromises that we made or somebody made at some point to try to create a functioning, prosperous society. It's definitely has a lot of problems, a lot of rot in there. But like Michael said, I'm hoping that because things are so bad in some ways, I do think some people are kind of waking up a little bit, and maybe that would encourage people to be more involved or more whatever in their local communities, in their sphere, paying attention to things.
Yeah. I don't know. I think when Solzhenitsyn said they will demoralize, I think it was Solzhenitsyn. He said they will demoralize you. Like they demoralized the people in Soviet Russia so bad that you couldn't even tell them the truth because they were just that broken. And I don't want to experience that. I don't want to it did not happen overnight in Soviet Russia. That was not something that just, oh, now you're impressed. No, man.
Well, of course not. No.
And the thing is, they will lie. They're doing everything the Soviet Russia did, almost virtually the same exact movements, patterns, like their slow progression towards this more communist type of society, this more regimented part of society, class, caste system, medical apartheid.
Yeah.
Like we're here, so I don't know. The optimism is that people will reject government for me. I'm seeing it more and more every day. Rejecting police is a good thing. The rejection of them as our saviors and when we should value our own sovereignty and our own ability to protect ourselves and our property.
See, Dan, I kind of disagree with you on this a little bit because I do think we need law and order. You can't just let people do whatever.
I'm thought about doing whatever. There is a lot, like, for example, a kid in Tennessee, right up here in Chattanooga, got a college student, refused to wear a mask, so they called the police, and they beat him and dragged him out of the classroom. That's what police do. I have a lot of good friends that are police officers. I love them. I don't think they're bad guys.
That's not all they do.
I don't think
about all like the interactions they have every day, and they're not doing that. Like,
no, it's not about that. It's not about. It's what they can do when they want to.
Yeah, but they've been getting in trouble for doing stuff like that.
I don't know, man. I don't think they really have. There was in New York City, what was it, like not even 6 months ago? 2 cops gang raped a 17-year-old in their police vehicle, and no charges. They were let go. They just were forced to resign. Like, they didn't get any punishment because the system protects these people, man. The system is designed to keep itself in power. That's what the design of it is. It's that organized. There is no difference between the Taliban and the United States government. They are the exact same. The CCP and the United States government are the exact same. They may not, we may not be full communist China right now or full authoritarianism, but my God, it's knocking on the door. It's knocking every day. And one day someone's going to open that door, and that's it. It will literally be like that, and then we'll be like, boom, oh shit, I guess I can't buy food. I have to wait for my ration card. Like, that's the world we could be in. And it's only governments that do that on mass scale, on mass multitude, millions of people, tens of millions dying. It's only people that do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's. I mean, what else?
They're the only people that would have that kind of capability at all for any reason. Because there's governments everywhere, even in little tribes in the middle of nowhere that nobody's ever seen before.
And if that tribe goes and tries to kill another tribe, the tribe fights back. I mean, I'm just saying, like, we still live in this, like, it's anarchy. I mean, like, what's happening in Afghanistan is not anarchy. That's organized violence. That's the application of organized violence. People think that's disorganization. No, that is by its design. It is absolutely intended to be that way. It's not the deposing of the other government. It's by the means that they took control was violent, which usually leads to a more violent government than the previous one. Okay, I won't talk about it. I'm sorry.
You're fine.
No, dude. Like, I mean, I don't know. I understand. I just don't. I don't know how you guys don't find it interesting. I'm sorry.
No, I find what not interesting. I do, but we just disagree on some of these things.
I'm telling you, dude. Solzhenitsyn, dude.
No,
he talks about the way you guys view the government is the same way the Russians viewed the Soviet Union.
It's not that we disagree on these things. I understand where you're coming from. I understand that this can happen. Like, this happens in other countries. I understand the threat of that, and we're heading. It seems and it looks like we're heading in that direction. Yes, it does, but we have not gotten there quite yet. And I think that there is still hope to redirect it in some way, or maybe this is just how all governments eventually end up.
Can I cite you an example of anarchy that you'll agree with?
Sure.
Governor Ron DeSantis. That's anarchy. That's what anarchy is. That is him making a social agreement with his people to give them the freedom of choice to wear a mask or not.
Yeah, but he also backs the police, like, very heavily. He's like,
listen,
hey, if you start doing shit, you're going to get fucked up.
You're missing my point. Also, that's not true. A bunch of Cuban protesters blocked a highway. They were not told to do anything. He passed a law, okay, that said you cannot block highways for protests. Because of BLM, Cuban protesters did it. Nothing happened to them. This is what governments can do. They can selectively choose who they can punish or not. But anyway, I digress. That is anarchy. Opening up Florida early. That's anarchy. That's freedom. That's what I'm offering, is not being dictated to by one man, one group, one person, or any type of
we all agree on this.
Yes, absolutely. And that you live in the freest state, because he's an anarchist. He's like, screw the federal, or maybe at least a statist, like in the United States. He believes the sovereignty of Florida is undeniable. That nobody can come into Florida and tell him what to do virtually, right? Well, what would happen if he just didn't have to listen to the federal government, period? And he's like, we're not sending our tax money. We're not doing that anymore. It's all going to stay in-house. We have a proud, tight-knit community in Florida. People can leave if they want. They can come if they want. But we will not be told what to do by the federal government. I think most people would say that's something they would like for their state governor to do.
But then you wouldn't get any federal funding for anything.
You won't need it, because you're not giving them any federal funds, and you'll be able to invest it all the way you want. You're not giving any federal funds. Like, that's a state. The state will collect your taxes.
What if Cuba attacks you?
Huh?
What if Cuba attacks us?
What do you mean?
I was like, what if Cuba? If we don't have any federal, so
why?
We wouldn't have the military.
They got a Coast Guard. They got a Coast Guard. They got a military. They have the National Guard.
Yeah, national, but isn't that the federal? Isn't that underneath, like, the federal government?
No. National Guard. Everyone. So in the National Guard is state controlled. Every state has a National Guard, right? Then you have the Federal Reserve, which kind of functions the same way, but those are federal troops.
The National Guard in Florida gets no federal funding.
They may get some. I don't think so, actually. I think it is completely privately funded, or like in state funded, if I'm not mistaken. So that's why state guardsmen in California, they may have a huge GDP. They usually get nicer stuff, maintenance. I'm not exactly sure, but I know working for the South Carolina National Guard, it's a shit show. Like, you get the worst gear. Yeah, it's very underfunded. Your training's crap. Like I've had people.
Yeah, I don't know, but
But
mean,
the idea though is like, hey, yeah, that's freedom. That's anarchy. That's the social agreement between you and your governor, and you say, hey, I like you. Thank you for doing it.
But if he's doing it in the system that already exists,
He's not doing it.
He's just. What do you want?
I wouldn't say he's doing it necessarily in the system, because if this was the system of the state between the federal relationship is interesting. But that's the decentralization. Dude, you're really like, I don't understand. I don't understand, man. I don't get it.
What are you talking about?
Well, you eye roll and stuff. I might even know if you know you're doing it, but it's like, how am I supposed to have a conversation when someone's eye rolling at me? Like I'm trying to express like an idea. And it's like, I understand you don't like it, and I'm sorry for bringing it up, and it's not interesting to you. You think we've done it too much. I understand. I do. Like, fair enough. Fair enough.
No, I would just. Okay. All right.
Well, if you don't want to talk about it, I understand. Because when I get the eye roll, I feel, okay.
Well, because we're not talking about it. You're talking about it. Mostly.
Well, I mean, how am I not supposed to explain my position?
Because I just asked you, I just made a statement about, well, Ron DeSantis did most of the things you described while within the system, and then you semantically said, oh, he's not really doing it in the system, and then you wanted to explain the relationship between the federal government and the state.
No, I would say I think he's working outside the system.
I think he's working as the system is intended.
Maybe.
That is what he's doing. He's saying, I am the governor of Florida.
Okay, what can you do if your governor doesn't do what you want? What do you do if your mayor doesn't do what you want?
Well, Dan, then you vote in a new governor.
Yeah, like the recall election here in California. We'll see if that goes through, right?
But that's what you do. So you vote in a new governor, or you move to a different state. You're like, hey, I don't like living in New York. Maybe I should go to Texas or Florida. Or, hey, I don't like these California, or I'll go to Idaho. I don't know. Like, you just move to a different state and you get around people that are more line up with you and what you want, and that's what people can do.
Sure.
And you can vote. You can vote in new governors if you want to.
Yeah, I guess.
That's what the system allows you to do. So if you don't like your governor and he's not doing what you like, you have two options: move or try to vote in a new one.
Fair enough.
I mean, I don't know any other way. Like, you're going to have some kind of leader. You're going to have somebody that runs things.
Mm-hmm.
It's all I know. I don't know any other way.
Yeah, and I think that's part of the issue for us. I think we think there is no other way, and we tell ourselves
you're going to have some kind of leader. I mean,
I don't think it's not about leader. It's like, hey, dude, you're really good at plumbing. You build a plumbing school. You are like excellent plumber. You get to build out your business. The government can't come in and take 35% of your profits and then disseminate it throughout the United States to things that you don't want, or things you don't care about, or things that you don't, like, that is the argument, is that you having the autonomy. I think the autonomy as a business owner to be like, you know what, I made $100,000 this year, I'm gonna buy a boat. Okay.
Yeah, no, but I'm not like I do think some taxes are definitely way too much, but I'm not like anti-tax. I understand.
Fair enough.
I'm for like taxes in a way, and yeah, like they get to a point to where they can be too much, but I'm not, because I understand what they do and what and obviously they fund a lot of things that I don't want them to fund or go to, and they go to a lot of bad things.
Well, do you think there should be like a maximum wage, a maximum amount of money you can earn in the United States?
No, why would I?
So like after you hit like $200,000 a year, they just cut you off and they take all the money.
No,
so
why
they can help out.
Why would I think that?
Well, because that's the argument, right? If you keep giving more money to the government, or any money to the government, they're the ones that are going to be able to disseminate it properly and get it to the things that it needs.
I just said that. I said I don't want them taking. I just said that I'm not for them taking like 40% or 35%. Yeah, that seems like it's too much.
You got to understand what I'm saying is, they can set a minimum wage so they can control the bottom. Why can't we control the top? Because like, if this is the world that we want to live in, I'm just saying, no, like this is a legit thing. Why can't the government say, well, you can't make less than this? Why can't they step in and say you can't make more than this? And everything after that is government-owned money. That just goes to us, help us expand
because then that would decentivize people from growing, and they wouldn't want people like, if you can only make 200 grand, then you're going to stop at that point. You're not going to want to be like a Jeff Bezos. Like,
exactly.
So what do you mean exactly? I don't understand what you're trying to say.
I agree. But the government can do that. There is nothing stopping the government from coming and say, if they can set a minimum wage, there's already judicial precedents for it. People try to fight it back then.
I know, but those are like the lines where people would, those are like the lines that we talk about. It's like, okay, they haven't done that. Yeah, they could do that, but they haven't done that. And a lot of people would fight back against that, I believe.
Well, I don't think it would be just as easy as like turning a switch and then
they just have to pass.
They
just have to pass a law. That's how our system works.
Do you think? Yeah, I know that, but
there'd be a lot of pushback.
There would be a lot of pushback from people in the government because some of them make more than $200,000.
Okay, you said it a million. Then you said it at $1 million.
There would still be a lot of pushback.
There'd still be a lot of pushback.
There's nothing that's stopping them. There's literally
that's what's
nothing
stopping them. Is that people would push back and say no.
Right.
And then they wouldn't do that.
Tell that to the Patriot Act. People push back plenty against that. That's still here.
Yeah, but I think people at the time, a lot of people agreed with it because they didn't really know what it was.
The last 2 times it was redone up, because it is on a 5-year
once they take something, they don't give it back.
Yeah, like it's like the Capitol Police did. They got an extra $3 billion into the budget. They're expanding nationwide. Why do you think they're doing that? What are they getting ready for? Why are they doing these things?
I don't know, Dan.
The writing's on the wall, bro. Like it's like, I know that people think I'm stupid. I'm crazy, or like I don't, like, maybe I'm wrong. Fine. I would rather be wrong, honestly, than right. I would rather be wrong. I hope I'm still talking like this in 35 years and I'm not in a prison. Like, that's me. I'm like, I hope I'm still talking like this, like, hey man, fuck the government. Like, I hope I am. I really do. I hope I'm so wrong. I hope Governor Ron DeSantis rides up on the Lincoln steps on a fucking white horse with his bitchin' ass wife and a fucking Corvette revving in the background, saying, America's back, bitch. And he blows Clinton's head off. Okay? Rides up. Oh, no, Lincoln. My bad. Lincoln. I meant at the Lincoln Memorial. My bad. Hillary Rodham. Clinton. Dude, that shit is so funny, dude. I can't believe Sean didn't give me any spice back for that.
No, I saw it. Yeah, I saw it.
But rips up, with a lockup all, like, DeSantis says, I am Q. That's what he says. He says, I am Q. And then then all of a sudden, there's a long line of all the dirty politicians and all the dirty business lit, and then we lock them all up in Guantanamo Bay, and we wave, and then we just drop a nuke, and we leave, right? Let's say all that happens. Cool. Maybe I'll vote again. That'd be sick.
I don't know. Yeah, well, I definitely, that's why, like, I don't know. I think like that the top level politics of the country have become way less interesting to me in the past couple of years. I really just like reinvesting in the local stuff. I think it's the key to most of these ills over a long enough period of time.
Yeah, but we just have to hope. But the bureaucrats, what do we do with the bureaucrats? What do we do with those?
But there's always going to be bureaucrats. Isn't it? You're never. I mean, there's bureaucracies within like your families. I mean, like.
Yeah, but like, I can't come to you and put a gun in your face and say, "Give me half your money."
You could try.
Yeah, but again, there's like some people in families that have a lot of. They could like, No,
but on any scale, though, right? There's always somebody in the position of a tribe or a town or whatever that will be in that position. Always. No matter what system. Exactly. No matter what.
Anarchy. That's organized violence.
I mean, no matter what system you're in, those things tend to manifest.
Vikings would disagree with you, but
the Vikings.
They listen.
Do you think the Vikings didn't just fucking swap each other?
Actually, they were pretty. Dude, I've been reading The Viking Heart by Arthur Herman. I've been like dabbling into it. Dude, these guys were geniuses, bro. Do not spit on the Vikings. What they tell you about, and like, what's that fucking stupid Vikings? I think is the name of the show. Like, it's all this like, drinking, fighting. Yeah, that was cool. But dude, these guys pioneered military tactics, guerrilla warfare, navigation and charting and stuff. Like, dude, they're super cool dudes.
Yeah, they were just a hyper aggressive culture. That's why they really went after everything with passion.
Oh, they were pretty peaceful.
No, what I'm saying, they would go after their pursuits passionately. That's why all the stuff from them being rough and drinking and all, that's where all that stuff comes from.
Yeah, and then when they go to England and they see the little fancy boy with his little cap on,
let me tell you something. If you're a Viking and you're going on a fucking purge, and you say, no, I'm not doing this, they're going to fucking make you do it.
They're going to make you
do
it.
No, they'll just call you a pussy.
No. Come on.
What?
You think they didn't have their own versions of brutality and like policing and?
No, not really. I mean, they just killed each other. If you piss someone off, you could die. Like, that's cool too. You want to come steal from my field? You die. That's cool. Don't steal my corn, jerk.
I just think in any system you're going to have hierarchy and just naturally.
No, the argument. Listen, the argument is not saying that there won't be bad people. There will be. Everything you're saying to me right now is taking place in this world, and it is usually perpetuated by the government.
I know. No, but we're saying that the label government isn't as specific as maybe it seems to be. It's not just a reference to like our literal system of government. Government appears in every facet of your life. Not the actual government, the concept of what the government means.
It's like, Mike, why do you hate Dana White? Why do you hate him?
No, I don't hate Dana White.
You know what I mean? You hate that he won't pay the players, right? You hate it. You can't stand the fact that he won't pay them.
No. You miss. I love Dana White. I think he's a genius in a lot of ways. I just think that he should pay the fighters more.
You think he should? Okay, right?
Yeah.
You think
I don't hate him. I think he's very smart.
A Jake Paul freaking took a pay cut.
No, for everybody. Fuck that dude.
Yeah, okay, exactly. Because when a guy does exactly what they should do, and say, you know what, I'm going to lose $500,000, make sure everyone else gets taken care of under me. But hold on. The reason why you don't like Dana White is because he runs shit, right? He's like a warlord. He is
I do like Dana White.
But
Stop saying that.
I disagree with him on one thing.
That idea that he can just selectively choose who gets paid and who doesn't. Okay, he controls the money. You don't like that. Let's just say that. Let's just say you don't like the way he spends his money on the fighters. You think you think there should be a minimum wage. No. You're the minimum wage guy.
And that's not what I said. I said
that's exactly what you said.
No. I said that's not what I said. I said I think the fighters should get a bigger percentage.
Yes, a minimum wage, Michael. Yes, you're
No. It's not a minimum wage. They should get a percentage of the profits.
Okay, a minimum percentage then. You're advocating for a minimum wage, Michael. It is literally the same exact thing. You're advocating that they get a certain percentage.
Well,
okay, of the total pay, whatever. Listen, that's not my point. It's beyond my point. So the idea is that, like, okay, you think a union should come in, right? Boom, boom, union versus Dana White in the UFC. Now there's a big mishmash. Okay, cool. So the idea is organized violence is all I'm talking about. Any group can organize into violent people. Violent people can organize themselves to become a violent group and go do evil. For sure. Those numbers have always been smaller than generally a main population. So the argument is, should we use government to organize violence? That's like, because the corporations could become governments. They can make legislation, basically, like Google. They are their own legislators, their own regulators. They can kind of do whatever they want. The government doesn't want to touch that because it's a very powerful tool, which is fascism, the good of merger of corporations and state. So if we can't stop fascism, because we can't, it's coming. Like, it's always one emergency away. All I'm asking for is, like, to disable that organized violence. We could still have government. They could still take our taxes. They could do all these things. If I think everyone could agree, the state should not be able to kill you. The state shouldn't be able to come. The government shouldn't be able to come to your house and say, I think you're a murderer, so I'm going to kill you. Or I don't think that's okay. That's maybe where we can maybe agree, is take away their military and send it back to the states, whatever. Relinquish all their organized violence capabilities. Get rid of the FBI, the CIA.
But don't you think that's like too isolationist in a sense that, like, what I'm saying, but the rest of the world is not going to act in accordance with that.
Yeah, China's not doing that.
And we're going to be competing with them. And then if we were fractured in that way, wouldn't we be like open to an actual like a real war, an attack?
No, because it's much like Europe. So when someone gets attacked in Europe, usually all of Europe comes together. When it's a real legit war, like World War One, World War Two.
Yeah, but they're not Americans and they're not anarchists.
This has nothing to do with anarchy. I'm talking about decentralization at this point. Decentralize their organizational power of violence. That's it. So what you do is you decentralize their violence. Yes, you're still going to have states that are jerks and fine, whatever. But we can take away their organizational capabilities of their violence, take away the CIA, the FBI, destroy them, abolish them, whatever. But the military, when someone attacks the United States, we would come together. You could still have a president. You could still have a Congress, whatever, but they just don't have any effect on the organization of violence. So every state would be able to say, hey, like we're all have active duty forces. These are our forces that the federal government can't own and control those forces. That's what I'm saying. Then no more federal tax dollars. None more of that. Like you got to volunteer if you want to be in government and you can't really affect anything. It's just really there as just a joke. If we wanted to like have like representation or whatever, like.
But damn, what would you do during a war?
Huh? No, you just come together. That's exactly what would happen. That is what would happen. That is what happens now.
But don't you think in the era that we live in, I mean, war might not mean like a literal war in terms of people fighting on like American soil or vice versa. What it's like, it's a war of information and influence and who is inside whose business.
Yeah, who's gonna fight the Chinese from fucking going on Facebook?
Are they doing it now? They can't even get a withdrawal right, whether planned or not.
I'm not saying.
Our intelligence agencies are completely incapable of doing any real intel gathering, from what it seems like.
Well, that's what it seems like, right? At least with Afghanistan.
Well, honestly, like, dude, our cyber attacked all the time, getting our pipeline shut down.
Yeah, but we would be under more stress of that. Probably without them, they might exist as a deterrent to a certain degree. I don't know.
I disagree completely, because what we have done, we have stratified and created an intelligence agency that is one big one versus 50 smaller ones that can all work together.
Hey, Dan, what do you think about the Russian government?
The Russian government? I mean, they're just as bad as any other government. They're all bad. All governments are bad to me. All of them. There is no good government. There's no way, because they are going to come for you. Like, that's what their job is.
I know. So wouldn't your government eventually come for you?
I don't have a government. That's not what I'm having.
No, and in the new government that you create.
Well, the question is, can I flee America right now? Yes. I could flee America. I could go live in a different country. I could.
Which I've always wanted to do, by the way, just for a little while.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it would be cool. You know, maybe Australia is chilling right now. Australia is fucking chilling, dude. You don't have to go to work. You don't have to do anything. You just can't leave your home. You just can't, you have to watch like regulated TV.
I kind of want to move to a country where they don't speak my language.
And you just go sit in a hut?
Just so I don't really know what the fuck they're saying, or just,
listen, man, I know it's like...
I don't know. I like Argentina would be probably a nice place to live for a little bit.
Yeah, it's probably chilling. How's their government? Are they crazy? I don't know. They're pretty free people. They got a lot of like rural people living on their own, doing their own thing, not really being violent. Yeah, you got to deal with cartels sometimes.
No, but their government's pretty. They have a lot of power. Yeah.
No, they may have a lot of power. The question is this though, like
you have to vote, Dan, in Argentina. You ain't getting away with no voting.
I've heard about that, which is crazy, right?
They'll come and shoot you.
Should that be like that? Should that be a part of it? Should that be a part of our government? Well, we have to force people to vote now. I don't think so.
No.
But the idea is, with more freedom comes more danger. Becomes more absolutely terrifying. I think like that's why you love.
Chile might be a good place to live.
Chile might be cool.
Argentina.
Not very cold from what I hear, but
Chile's cold. Oh fuck yeah, it's cold down there.
It was a joke. I didn't know. I've never been there. I don't know nothing.
Well, you got two parts of it. You got the, if you go to the bottom of it, it gets cold. If you go to the top, it's hot.
Holy shit, it's like America, but southern.
No, it's opposite.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's fucking wild. There is a point where it starts, like it reverses, right? That is fucking kind of wild to think about. Like you just keep walking south, and it's like, oh my fucking god, dude! It's February and I'm freezing. That's crazy. That is crazy. I never the world is literally cut, like it's upside down. down there. That's cool. I mean, but they don't exist, right? They're not real people. I think it would be cool just to go like maybe chill out in another country. I may just just fucking get out of here. Maybe that's the
I
maybe
don't know
that's
of
the
another
goal.
country. Like, what other countries would you guys want to move to?
I want to go somewhere where my money is worth a lot, and it
Like
goes
the
a long way.
Philippines?
Yeah, I'd probably be like,
Philippines, Malaysia.
that's probably what I would do.
But
Until
you
it's
could,
not.
would you like living in that kind of like environment? Like,
Probably not.
see, I would fit much more in with like the Argentinians, even though your money may not go as long. I just feel like I could really get down there and live.
Yeah, probably. I could probably do that. Maybe a nice little hillside village in Italy. That might be nice.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah.
Not Italy,
Yeah,
Switzerland.
You definitely
Switzerland
don't live in
too?
Italy.
Yeah, fuck Italy. I don't want to live in Italy.
Yeah,
They're
Italy fucking
communists.
sucks.
Why does this suck? What's wrong with it?
Dude, those people live they're oppressed, bro. Like I've been there. Like it's not
But
like at least in
Switzerland's pretty
Naples.
free, isn't it?
No. They got government.
Oh.
Feels like anything. He's like, no, they got government.
No, I think there is an anarchist town in Mexico. And what
Well,
they
that's
did
fucking
is
Mexico, damn, but you get murdered down there. I don't
no,
wanna fucking go
no.
there.
They had made a deal with everyone agreed in the town. It's like 20,000 people. They voted or whatever, or however they did it, and they were like they have a tribe council, and
Yeah,
they
tribes are
are
gonna be shit to the cartel.
the only thing they deal with is outside. They can't have no control inside, so they only deal with outside governments, outside forces, and that's pretty interesting. And you can go trade with anybody, do anything, but they pay off the cartel. They're like, hey, we'll give you $1 million bucks, just leave us alone, and they do, and they trade with them
For
and like
now. For now.
I mean maybe
Everybody's.
they are per
so
capita. They are one of the most armed populations in the world. There is, I think,
That
four
town?
guns per person or something like that.
Oh,
Like,
wow.
it's a very heavily like. But that's the idea is like if everyone was an armed society is a polite society or something. It's pretty cool. Maybe I'd go down there and just go check it out. Go see what's up, get killed.
I don't know. Mexico's pretty fucked.
It is pretty fucked, but it's this government.
Yeah, but it's
Not
like
the car-
pretty
the
poor,
cartel-
not good internet. You're gonna be fucked down there, dude.
Yeah, but that's the
Good
thing is
luck.
like people act like it's the government that makes us better. It's not. It's our it's like explain this to me, Michael. When was the last time you went to the moon? When was it? Like 70, 80 something,
I
whatever?
have no idea, dude. To be
It's
honest,
been a while, right? You got 3
Yeah.
billionaires in a space race right now. That's what
I know.
capitalism
But why do we need to go? But like, you wouldn't want the government using their tax dollars to go to the fucking moon anymore, would you?
I don't want them to fucking do anything. But here we are, right? But the question is, the government can't organize itself very properly unless the only thing they can do is take your money and be violent. Those are the two best organizations they have. Everything else is like a shit show. Like it's a shit show, dude. They barely do anything right.
I mean, yeah, sure. I guess. I mean, a lot of things happen on a regular
But I
basis that
think-
involves government. It's not all bad.
Yeah, but no, it is bad because everything that you talk about in your life, everything is private industry to run. They may be regulated by government, but almost everything in your life is private industry. Like 90% of it, probably,
Sure.
if not more.
Okay.
Right?
Probably.
Like when you say like Walmart's, like these things. The only thing that is communally like run is your roads,
Yeah.
and
Schools.
and that schools is probably a good one. What's another one? What do? They provide as a function. The government. That's why you take all the welfare out, like saying like everyday normal people's work and doing their thing. What do they do besides take money from you and then have a gun pointed at you? Like what is the other function they do?
What do you mean?
Well-
It's such a broad question, dude. Like
No, I mean like what does
tons
the
of
government,
social services programs, maintenance of
none of the welfare.
roads.
None of the welfare. I'm talking actual you in your current situation. What does the government provide that you cannot live without besides police and roads? And I'm trying to think of something else. Like, what do they provide?
I don't know. I guess I'd have to think about it.
I don't know. Like, I can't think of it. I know roads, but
Yeah,
that is
That's a big one.
yeah,
That's a
that
big,
is
big
true.
one.
That is true, but can't function without privatization. It has a lot of private stuff going on too. A lot of private companies are involved.
Yeah, they work together, kind of.
The government pays for it.
Good luck going to fucking Mexico, dude. You're gonna be driving on fucking dirt roads.
That's my greater point is that like the government doesn't actually provide anything. They just take and destroy. That's it. That's all they do. They take and destroy. Take your money, then they destroy things with it. So the idea is like the social welfare programs, some of those are pretty great. Some of those are really awesome, and they really do help a lot of people. I'm a beneficiary. I'm not going to argue that fact. I am a beneficiary of some of these social programs. I'm willing to admit it, and I can't tell you. I don't know if I'd be alive without some of these social programs, like this social program, the VA. Is it a social program? Is that considered social? Would it?
Well, I don't know. I mean,
it's a federally funded program, so I mean, it's definitely social, right? It's a social welfare.
Yeah, yes, it is.
It's just only for the special people like me.
Yeah,
right?
For veterans.
For the specials. The specials. They will kill us first. That's just really what this has all come down to. All right, this guy's got PT. Kill him. He's the crazy one. He likes Q too much. Lock him up. Lure him to DC.
This guy's a cure.
Dude, I'm telling you, I still get weird messages from groups. But I just think that is really the greater, broader point I'm talking about is like, what does the government provide for you as a business owner? What do they really offer you?
No, I mean, you're not entirely wrong. Most of it's just, you know, the infrastructure to be able to get loans and kind of do your own thing. That's really what it's there for, to maintain those things.
Even then, they're the ones who fucking let the Wall Street people rip around and fuck us all over for fucking decades.
100%. And also, I think we saw over the past couple of years, especially with all like the BLM riots and stuff like that, that they won't even protect your businesses. That from things that are happening in your community. So, you know, I don't necessarily, I guess, disagree with like a lot on like and on a principle level with what you say. I always just think about, like I said before, I guess earlier, it's just about like what do I think is actually like a feasible, practical way to move forward. That's the way, and maybe I am too stuck in the system that I exist in. That's, you know, that could be fair.
I just think about how much you guys have created without government on your own. I sold my body. Okay, I'm a slut. I am a prostitute. I prostituted myself out to the military for 7 years. I'm a human trafficker, or I am the trafficked by human traffickers. I mean, honestly, that's what it is. It's a servitude in exchange for certain things. But that's what I'm saying. Like, they don't provide. They don't do anything.
Well, I understand that. Well, I think it's like hard to get into it, man. Like, because there's so many different like little layers of things that like government is involved in when it comes to like towns and mayors and communities deciding on things and where they're going to allocate budgets and like it's all organizational infrastructure stuff.
Yes, I agree with you. I'm really talking about the federal state level. We can work on the states later, but like I'm not saying that you guys can't elect a mayor for your town and have a tribal council and like talk and negotiate and people can come in and vote. That's fine. I'm not talking about getting rid of those things. I'm talking about getting rid of state level and federal level authority. You get rid of them, and I think there's a possibility where we could organize our violence together and make it a free exchange of violence. So the way it would be is like during a time of war, we all band together and our militaries come together. And we become one again. And we train unilaterally, do kind of the same thing we're doing. But it's like the federal government, this is the thing that's going to come for everybody because they're going to treat you, Mike, Sean, me, myself, Dan, like you live in New York City in one of the most violent neighborhoods on the face of the planet. And they're going to be like, now you got to, because this happened here, you got to do it everywhere.
But Dan, like every state would be different then. So if you join the state military, they may have crappy benefits, and you may just get royally fucked.
Yeah, move to another state, right? That's what your solution for everything having a bad governor. No, I mean, like, the thing is, like, that is not... I understand. When I served the overlords, when I served, in the military, I was like, I got a body bag. Like, that is what the idea is. You come in with a body bag. That's what you get first issued, is a body bag. It's the first thing when you sign that down line. So it's just like, hey, those young guys.
I know, but wouldn't you just want everybody that served to have the opportunity to have the benefits available to them?
Tell that to the National Guardsmen because they don't get it. They don't get the same benefits between there and California, there in Florida, wherever. They're not the same.
I
That
know.
is just
So
the
wouldn't
way it
you
is
want them
right
to be
now.
the same now?
There is. When they serve in a federal capacity, they can get certain benefits, right? So the question is, okay, if we had to band together as a country, then maybe there would be something that we could put together on a national level for people that serve in a federal capacity, let's say. This is the best way to explain it. But
So what would you do with like all the foreign like we're in so many foreign countries?
yeah, I would say convention of the states, abolish the federal government, seize the Federal Reserve, seize all the assets of the federal government, and all military members will be relinquished back to their states and their authority.
Nobody's saying what do we do about geopolitics?
Geopolitics?
How do you have if we don't have like singular representatives that can that go and do the discussing, talking to people, making the deals and stuff like that? That obviously you can't have 50, 60, 100 people doing that.
Well, the idea is that we already have that right now with the the Congress. That's what they can do. They can go speak on your state. They can go check shit out. It's usually not governors maybe do that sometimes, but it's usually the federal representatives. You just have 50 people that go and talk to governments on your behalf, like that's what we do now, or whatever, or you select somebody from your mayor or from your town to go, hey, we'll do this, we'll do that. These things are already in place. Is what I mean.
Oh,
With technology, anybody can message.
I know it sounds like we kind of have this almost.
We
The
do.
federal government's too big.
Not too big. Get rid of it. Seize all their assets. Take it all. Take it. Turn it into a ghost town. Let it stay and let it just crumble into the sea. Like, let it just go away.
Yeah, but Dan, you're going to have some federal governments because you're going to have somebody if we do go to war or whatever the case may be to organize everything.
Sure. We have that already. We have that capability now. Mike, I don't think you understand how the National Guard
I understand that.
I'm not saying there wouldn't be complications. There wouldn't be ways for that shit to happen. Okay? Like, I'm not saying there wouldn't be ways that could be issues we could run it. I don't have all the answers. It's kind of when I asked you, well, what does the government do for you? It's hard to answer. Sometimes you're like, oh, dang, I never really think about it.
But Dan, would it be like okay if a state's like, hey, you know what? We don't want any of these fucking New York people moving into our state. If you're from New York, you're not allowed to come here. Would that be okay?
I'm not saying it would be okay, but that would be their choice, right? If those people voted for it, I guess this would be your guys' argument. Well, if they put in a guy that said you're not allowed to come here, and they want to build a wall, right?
No, I wouldn't be for that because then it's like dividing the whole country up.
Yeah, I don't think it's about division. It's about cohesion. It's about taking away. States will work a lot better together if there's no federal government. Because there's no way the federal government can come in and force things to happen. Like, the federal government can withhold money. They can take your money, and then they can say, you can't get this back until you do what we tell you. It's extortion. That's the way the federal government functions.
No, yeah, the federal government is bullshit when it comes to that stuff. Like, it really needs to, like you said, there has to be a very small. I know you want to abolish it, but
I mean,
it really diminish its influence on the states and and those kinds of things. But I do think it's not a bad thing to have a representative kind of entity of the country that
you
is
just
about
have no authority, though.
cohesive and
no authority.
But they have like influence,
and also a place that where, well, I guess parts of the court system, the federal court system, and stuff like that. Like, parts of those things are important, and they also are things that oftentimes bring states together to work on things and whatever and laws and stuff like that.
I disagree personally. I mean, but the federal government doesn't have to listen to the Supreme Court. You know that, right? They don't have to.
No, I know they don't have to, but it's I don't know how often it happens that they don't.
All the time.
I don't know.
Are they allowed to spy on you? No, but they do.
Well,
come on.
I mean, I'm not saying that if they're doing things clandestinely and like not involving the government, nobody's tried to sue them. Then
it's called the FISA courts, bro. The FISA courts were secret.
I know
They were
that. Yeah, yes.
What do you think
and I
you
agree.
not know?
And I
What do you think
disagree with
you
those
not
things.
know, bro?
I clearly disagree with those
Do you
things.
know they have secret courts for our elected officials? Did you know that?
Yeah, that's where Donald Trump's going to try them all.
No, there really are. Like, that is not
No,
fake.
I know that.
There is secret tribunals that they have where they punish each other. Like,
Quality
it's
of
crazy.
actions.
It's incestuous.
No,
Dude,
that's fucked up. That's fucking stupid.
I am almost telling you right now, when they come out, like Mitch McConnell has bruises, like, I think that's like some weird. I know you think that's crazy, dude. Listen, I
Man,
have
with the
been.
cane.
Okay,
With
dude. Like,
cane.
if I told you when I joined the military, you know, I was like, oh, I don't know what's gonna happen when I put on rank. No, they beat you, and you let
Yeah.
it happen.
No, I understand that. Yeah.
You know what you would rather do than lose your $1 million of wealth and all of your notoriety and go to jail for 35, 40 years because they will nail you.
Sure.
I'm going to tell you right now, dude, I would get punched in the fucking face unless someone fucked with my hand to stay in that kind of position. Absolutely. Get in line or else. Like,
I don't disagree that people
I know
would be
this sounds
definitely
crazy.
inclined, but I don't know if they're taking people back into the chambers and
Dude.
caning them.
No, it's not a cane. It's like, you know, maybe it's
No,
a
it's
book. You get with
open
a
hands.
Bible, get Quran.
It's a rubber hose, definitely.
I don't know. No, but like to sit here and say that there's not secret tribunals that happen within our government that are not on record, they happen. A lot more. Do you know how I know?
Who told you about these?
No,
Yeah,
listen. Do you know how I know? Because they
How do
do
you
it for
know?
officers too. Officers have private.
Yeah, but people know they exist, but
No.
they know that the process exists. Is what I'm
Nope.
saying.
A lot of people don't. But listen,
Well,
when you go behind certain periods of certain thresholds of information, there's no going back. Like there is, like think about this. Do you know that if you retire from the military, that you are forever held to the UCMJ? Forever. Yes, Uniform Code of Military Justice. That's military law for the rest of your life. The Navy today said if any of their retirees come out and speak out against Biden, they will lose their benefits.
yeah.
Yeah, like, dude, no, listen. Do you know if you're a military officer, for one day, they can recall you at any point in your life until you're 65. I don't think, like, there are things in place that are absolutely true. That, like,
Sure.
they do things behind closed doors, dude, that you could only imagine. Have you ever heard of comet pizza?
No, I agree with you. I'm sure that there's tons of stuff that
I have a source.
people have
the
no
Pentagon.
idea. People have no idea what the hell is going on. Like, I'm sure. I'm totally.
Dude,
I just
these are some
assumed.
sick puppies, bro. Sick puppies out there, dude.
These people
Someone
are
needs
caning old
They
man.
need to call a vet. That's how these puppies are that sick. You know, I'm just saying, like, but there is secret tribunals that really do happen in our federal government, and it is the NSA, all of them. They're all involved, and there's a reason why things are kept off the books, man. There is a reason. Things are said in there that they're not allowed to be heard, and conversations happen. Like, that's for real. That's some real G shit right there. That's not even fake. That's not Illuminati. That's just what That's what it happens.
Isn't it though? Isn't it though?
Wait till you wake up one day, you're president.
You know, it's actually interesting, just kind of jumping off what you just said. I guess maybe this will be like the last thing we talk about. There's like 2 viral videos that came out today of military members.
Yeah.
There was a lieutenant general who basically, I didn't actually watch the whole thing, but
Talk about the Marine.
yeah, is he a Marine?
Yeah, Lieutenant Colonel. You fucking buffoon.
Lieutenant
Get it
Colonel?
right.
Okay,
Get
sure.
it right.
He, he was basically saying that Biden's an embarrassment, etc. Like the withdrawal in Afghanistan is
Leadership needs
crazy.
to be held accountable. That's what we expect.
Yeah, and he got discharged today. I guess he's getting thrown out of the military. And but there was this other one.
Wait,
that was
why you can get thrown in the military for that?
Well, he did it in uniform in his office.
No. That's not. Okay. Hold on. This very, very small, quick, just little military information. Officers don't get fired. Okay. They get removed for lack of confidence, basically.
Sure.
You know, you lost trust and confidence in your command. The guy basically talks shit about military leaders, not even Biden in particular. He just talked about military leaders. Swift complete, and he did come out and say, like, I completely understand why they did what they did, and he is probably on his way out. Yeah.
Yeah. No, and I think he probably expected it when he did it. But the other viral video that I saw was a young soldier, young woman, talking about what would happen if the U.S. military was deployed in the United States, and how it would be because of martial law, and if you don't listen, she wouldn't hesitate to shoot you.
That's not what she said.
Well, I thought that's what she said.
She said, if you step out of your house when there's martial law, like, and you don't go back inside when I tell you to, you're the enemy. And someone put together a couple of her things, and she had been like, oh, these BLM protests, it's disgusting what's happening, da-da-da. And then someone put her, like, words, like, in her, like, her image with the fade in the background of all the cops just, like, beating the protesters. And you're like, it's true. She needs to be kicked out of the military. Yeah.
Well, yeah, it was pretty crazy. I mean, but it's actually not that crazy to me. It's not crazy that somebody thinks that, but it was crazy that she put it in a fucking TikTok video.
Did you see the minute and a half, 2 minutes or whatever? The whole one?
No.
Yeah,
no.
she basically, there's this crazy QAnon lady or something. She's like, what the fuck are you guys doing? Are we gonna have to stand up and do it? Because you won't stand up for this country, both enemies, foreign and domestic. And she's like, I'm a dumb bitch, and I'm gonna fucking sit here and act like you're a dumb bitch, and like whatever. And that's when it also really happened. And you're like, whatever, dude.
But anyways,
yeah,
I thought they were. It was a funny juxtaposition because they came out on the same day. So
yeah,
I'll have to look them up.
Dude, I'm telling you, go watch the mayor of New York's, the guy running for mayor, Solwa. I sent it. I said, this is beautiful. Seriously. And Mike, really nice door you put up there, bud. I like the door. Don't think I didn't notice. Did you build that door?
No, I bought it.
You're scum. You're scum. That's okay. No, I love the door. Honestly, I just wanted to let you know. I've been thinking about it. Like, I've been trying to find the right time. This is the time. But dude, he's doing a press brief. Like, like he's a nobody. He's got he was the only Republican who ran, the only one who won his primary, and whatever. But he's standing there, and a homeless guy walks up in the middle of his press conference, and he's kind of crazy-eyed. He's like, oh no, something, and go watch it. Just go watch that video, and you'll see it. And like,
I watched it.
Oh, you did, dude. And when and the cop comes up, he's like, get the fuck out of here, pig. He like, gets out of here. Like, he's a fine. And then he he puts his arm around him, and the dude just feeling like a human being cared about him for those 10 seconds. He broke down in tears. And he's like, I'm going to run from here. I want to be with, like, that's good, right? Like, that's what you would want your politicians to be like.
Mm-hmm.
If this is the place that we want to, like, pretend that this is what we need to do, like, this is our freedom, that's who I would vote for, right? Like, in my local mayorship.
Sure, for sure.
Mayoral race.
I mean, that's what you want. You want people that have character, integrity. I mean, and not be from like a different class of people, basically, than the people that they have to do things for and advocate for. That's that's also one of the problems with the federal government. It's just full of people that have no idea what it's like to be a regular person. And they do not consider that at all most of the time.
Yeah. I mean, that's a beautiful moment, though. I thought it was really pretty beautiful. Oh, really quick before we go, very quickly. 100-Foot Wave, HBO, motherfucking Max, to the max. Go watch it.
What is it?
Check it out. It's this 5. I'm only on episode 3. But yes, dude, it's so fucking dude. All right,
what is it?
Shut up. What's something you watch and you were sweating? You're like like you're like actually gripping your seat and shit. Like I'm telling you, seeing it, dude. Fucking pit down this wave, dude, and he's like this big, and he's just like you can just see the board, and he's got the little GoPros, and you're just like, oh my god, dude.
So I take it it's about surfers.
Yeah, Sean, it's called 100-Foot Wave. I
don't know. That could be about.
Let me break it down. Just the first opening thing. This is the thing. So there's this guy. He's been like a big wave surfer, whatever. He was like 35. He kind of retired, opened up his shop in Hawaii. Kind of became successful. He's like, I want to get back into surfing. La-da-la-di-da-da. Started going around, blah, 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 right, whatever. And then he's like 60 now. But he still hasn't hit the 100-foot wave. That's what I'll leave you with. That's what I'll fucking leave you with, boys.
He's chasing the dragon, boys.
Dude, it is so epic. When he fucking like that, really, when you see that guy on the beach, he's like, oh, I pitted, bro, and I was like, oh, God, duh. Like, you can't explain surfing any other way. There is no other way to explain it. It's just, dude, walls of water 50 feet high hurtling at you, probably pretty fast. I don't know how fast they move, but they gotta be moving. It is so crazy when you really think about the way. Dude, we were at the beach. Those little bitch-ass 5-foot waves were fucking me up, dude. Fucking me up. I'm almost drowned, dude. I had to get through the break and shit. I'm like, oh, my God. And these dudes literally go all around the world to find. It's like, what's that movie with Keanu Reeves?
Point Break.
Point Break, dude, just searching for the biggest fucking sickest waves. And, like, they're like, the storm's coming in. They're like, oh, fuck yeah, man. This is going to be it. We're going to fucking rip on this one. And they'll go out with ski. This is the same dudes who created, like, ski-doos. Like, they actually created how you do it. You ever seen when they're pulling the guy up to the wave? And these are the dudes that created it. And it's all on film. It's super cool, man. I'm just saying, I've been having fun. And, dude, I'm telling you, sweating. Like, I start sweating. I'm like, oh, my fucking God. I can't look. Because it's that intense. You're like, whoa, I got to look out of your eye, dude. Because you fall from 50 feet. Fall from it into a fucking water and flat. Like.
Wow. So you're going to
Dude.
become a surfer now, huh?
Yeah, I've given up on life. I'm just going to. No, I'm telling you, you just have respect. You know when you, like, Mike, when you were watching the 100-mile races?
Well, it would be kind of awesome to be a surfer because you don't got to fucking worry about any social media stuff, Dan. You just let go. Dude. You learn how to breathe with the ocean. Yeah. You learn how to be one with it.
Dude, that's real. That's real. The breathing with the ocean thing. The dude's
I know. And, it would be like, I mean, their lifestyle's kind of cool. I mean, you just don't worry about
low maintenance. You swim, fucking, maybe food might be expensive. That might be the worst, like, because you're eating a lot of calories.
Yeah, but if you're a good surfer, you go to competitions and win, and you're good. You get sponsors.
Dude, it's so cool, man. But see a dude that's on the 70-foot wave. Just watch it. You're like, it doesn't look real.
I've seen Point Break. Come on.
I know what surfing is, dude.
Dude, I got so fucking hyped, and I still got like 3 or 4 episodes left. I'm so excited to go take some fucking Delta 8 and fucking die.
You're not a true fucking binger, are you?
No, I'm not a true binger. I like enjoying it now. I don't want to binge it all, because it's sad when it's over. It's sad. To me. It's
nothing else to look forward to. That's why you got to get back to Star Trek. There's plenty of stuff to watch.
Oh, I'm already... Listen. That's coming back for sure. I gotta finish 100-foot. 100-foot, dude. 100-foot wave. It's really interesting if you're into extreme sports, seeing people doing stuff that will blow your mind. Like, these guys literally were the first people to go to this place in Portugal. They discovered it. It was like all on their own, and they proved to the world, because everyone's like, that's a shitty place to go, man. Fuck that place. And they're like, nah, dog, it's the fucking spot for big waves. And they fucking proved the world fucking wrong. It's fucking so rebel and badass. Okay, that's it. That's all I gotta say.
Well, Michael, do you have any words to leave the audience with?
I guess go watch 100-foot wave.
This episode is sponsored by HBO Max. To the max. Enjoy the documentary 100-foot wave. All right, everybody, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for listening.
MyPillow.com.
MyPillow.com. Cyber.
Promo Q is real, or POSO. POSO. All lowercase.
Yeah. Thank you, Mike Lindell, for your service to this country, right? All right, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for listening. If you'd like to know more about Zoobox, there's a bunch of links in the description. If you're watching this on the alt channel, thank you. This will be up whenever we can post stuff on a regular channel. On the regular channel. All right, everybody. Good night. Bye.
Preacher on the preacher.